Good morning, everybody. So welcome you to the Bengal Chambers program partnering with Medica North Bengal Clinic in Shiliguri. So we have with us today in the opening session Ms. Noyantara Pal Chaudhuri. She is the chairperson, Northeast and North Bengal Committee of the Bengal Chamber, and also the mentor of our socio-economic initiative, and the director of Washabari Tea Company Private Limited, and vice chairperson of Indian Tea Association. Dr. Alok Roy, past president of the Bengal Chamber. He also mentors our health committee, and he is the chairman of Medica Group of Hospital. Dr. Swarup Kumar Chakraborty, vice chancellor of Uttar Bongo Krishi Vishwavidyalaya. Dr. A.R. Khan, Chief General Manager, OIC, National Bank of Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD. He is joining us online. Mr. Bipol Chatterjee, Executive Director, Consumer Unity and Trust Society, CUTS. He is joining us online. Mr. Sanjog Datta, Founder, DAMI. He is with us at the venue. Mr. Jayanto Chakraborty, the Chairperson of our Agriculture and Rural Development Committee, and the Senior General Manager of Indophil Industries Limited. He is joining us online. So I would request Ms. Pal Chaudhuri, Dr. Roy, Dr. Chakraborty, and Mr. Datta to please join us at the dais. Sanju, could you please? Yes. Thank you. So I would request Ms. Noyantara Pal Chaudhuri, for you again, Chairperson of Northeast and North Bengal Committee of the Bengal Chamber and mentor of Socio-Economic Initiative of the Chamber and Director of Washabari Tea Company Private Limited, Vice Chairperson of Indian Tea Association. Ms. Pal Chaudhuri is requested to please deliver the opening remarks.
Namaskar and a very good morning to all of you. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to today's program organized by the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We thank you all for physically attending today's event despite the prevailing situation, and thank all our eminent panelists who have taken the trouble of joining us virtually. Well, friends, the Bengal Chamber of Commerce regularly organizes outreach programs in industrial regions of West Bengal, the more recent ones being at Holdia and Durgapur Asansol belts on ecological balance and industrial growth. The Chamber believes that it is important to have engagements in North Bengal given its strategic importance in the overall development of the state and, of course, the country. With enhanced transport, communication, infrastructural facilities, this region has the potential to develop and to increase trade with bordering nations. In fact, several districts in this region which border Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal have significant importance in cross-border trade. A number of key industries have developed recently in the region in an organized manner. Ecotourism, nature-based travel with emphasis on education, management, development of sustainable tourism, along with other allied activities, has generated income and employment for the local population. In fact, North Bengal is a rich ecotourism destination. Recently, friends, despite the pandemic, we have seen a steady flow of tourists to North Bengal, which makes us at the Chamber of Commerce feel how we can suggest to the state government to develop this tourism sector further in this region. Tea. Tea reminds us of things we seek: tranquility, warmth, vigor, and the tea areas and hills which provide them. Tea tourism can alter the tea drinking experience entirely by helping us understand the origins, processing, etc. Personally, I have been in the tea industry for 4 generations, and we are indeed very happy that the government is now allowing us to promote tea tourism in our properties and also use a certain portion of our tea grant land for other purposes. Blessed with rich cultural heritage and scenic beauty, North Bengal, especially the Darjeeling Hills, attracts tourists from all over the world, just as France or Switzerland attracts tourists to experience and taste their wine and cheese. I think you will all agree with me, North Bengal should take the lead in this. Friends, recently the state government is setting up private industrial parks on plots measuring 5 acres and above, which has encouraged a number of entrepreneurs in North Bengal. Many of them are ready to set up such parks in the region and have drawn up plans to set up MSME units. This is definitely going to boost employment. The pandemic has shown us the importance of developing the health sector, and we are indeed delighted that Dr. Roy is here with us today. Medical tourism in West Bengal is gradually increasing, and Kolkata is an important hub. But I think North Bengal, being so strategically located, has immense prospects of developing healthcare facilities and encouraging patients from neighboring countries to take advantage of these medical facilities. The Bengal Chamber's focus is to connect with the stakeholders of North Bengal for the region's overall industrial growth. The Chamber believes that this may be achieved by further developing the traditional sectors and also identifying new ones and connecting with prospective entrepreneurs. As evident in today's program, the Bengal Chamber has deep connects with the business network of North Bengal, including health with Dr. Roy, education, Dr. Shottam Roy Chaudhary, and tea and other industries. Our immediate focus at the Chamber will be to connect with young entrepreneurs. We have a few of them here today with us. New startups, learn from their innovative ideas, mentor them, and to develop new business opportunities in this region. With these few words, I, on behalf of the Bengal Chamber of Commerce, once again welcome all of you, and I'm sure we will have a very good interaction. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Pal Chaudhary. We now have Dr. Alok Roy, past president of the Bengal Chamber and the mentor of our health committee. He will deliver the visionary address on healthcare hub in North Bengal.
Thank you, Angana. Ms. Nayantara Roy Chaudhary, Pal Chaudhary, Chairperson Northeast and North Bengal, and she mentors our socio-economic initiatives for the Bengal Chamber of Commerce. Dr. Swarup Kumar Chakrabarti, Vice Chancellor, Uttar Bang Krishi Vishwavidyalaya, Mr. Sanjog Datta, Founder DAMI, other guests, and press and others who are present here. It's a great pleasure to be here. From Bengal Chamber, thank you. From Bengal Chamber, we have constantly trying for many years to really reach to North Bengal, and whichever way we can push the economy the business here has been our attempt for long time. It takes time for any chamber, because chamber is a kind of advisory. Chamber is more of a pushing policymakers in taking a decision. But nonetheless, they play a very important role in making opinions, in people forming opinion, especially those who matter. With that intent, we are here, and we'll be coming here again and again and again, as long as we are satisfied that things have started moving in a place with an optimal momentum, which is required for it to achieve its success or goal, whatever is required in that term. So when they spoke to me about that what can be done in North Bengal as a healthcare hub, then that triggered some thoughts in my mind. That what does it mean by healthcare hub in North Bengal, and why? What healthcare needs people. Healthcare delivery, for us, the raw material are people. Where are there people? There is a hospital. There is no people, there is no hospital. Like a hotel. Hotel can only survive in a place where there are people who will use it. You can build a factory in a wilderness because you are manufacturing something. You can have a power plant where the coal is. So for us, the healthcare desperately needs a location. If there are less people, a small hospital. Like you see in a village, there is a one-man army, one primary health clinic. Go bigger place at a Kasbah level, you will have a community health center by the government. So size keeps on increasing. There couldn't be a better place, in my opinion, in India to build a healthcare hub than in Siliguri. Think of it. First of all, Siliguri has got, or this region, I'm not saying just that Siliguri town, in this region, there are 3 neighboring countries who are not developed. Nepal will not develop, they are running 30-40 years behind us in healthcare delivery. The Bhutan has nothing, they depend on us for everything. Bangladesh is still 20 years behind us. So, and the capability of India to create a good hospital is very easy, very simple, because we have people, we have doctors and nurses. It's just that no entrepreneur thought that North Bengal is very important. Thanks to some of the hospitals are here now, Neotias are here, and then Decent has come, and others are also. I saw one ANI. Somebody sitting from Hyderabad wants to invest in nephrology in Northeast. Huge mind. I'm very kind of excited by simple thought. This used to happen in a bigger town. If they had to invest, they'll invest in Calcutta, very far-fetched Durgapur. But nobody will come to Bagdogra or to Siliguri. But the very fact, so obviously the location is and population is of prime importance, which you have. Ma'am, we are probably very well located. Our population is adequate. See, Government of India set up Nigrims in Meghalaya, near Shillong. Hardly used. When you have a population of 8-10 lakhs of people, that's all. How many people go there and do business there? None. That's a different issue. Whatever they did that, they had a compulsion probably. This place needs a central institute. This place, if you set up central institute here, people from Bangladesh will come, from Nepal will come, from Bhutan will come. And which place has a mountain, rivers, tea gardens and gardens and gardens? Which place has this kind of a population which is desperately trying for health care? Not only that, there was a time, excuse me, can you just keep quiet for a moment please? Traditionally, the population grew along the river, isn't it? Transportation was the main attraction for people to settle down. Everybody passes through this corridor for entire transportation to Nepal, to the eastern part of Nepal, to Bhutan, to the northeast, to our Bengal, goes from here. That means people are traveling. They are aware of the place. All you have to do is come up with a place and people will come and start using the facilities. We have seen it. And they're very important, that ability to pay. Today, after the politicians have discovered that roti kapda makan was good enough but not good enough anymore, the health is as important to get more votes. Good for us. Let politicians pay for it. Let anybody pay for it. As long as somebody is paying, I'm happily treating. So I'm not worried about who will pay for my treatment. One of the biggest factor in private healthcare world is that who's going to pay for the treatment. With the third party coming in, okay, payments are not very good, but they provide you numbers. So obviously, it's a huge attraction for anybody to set up healthcare facilities in this part of the country, because third party is paying. You have industries, you have tea, where tea gardens are willing to pay for their people. So if you see the changes elsewhere, as Ms. Nayantara has just now said, that the government is allowing tea companies to set up heritage tourism in their places. That means people are coming. Hundreds of flights are landing at Bagdogra. So obviously, you are ready, you are set. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been so many new companies coming up, setting up a hospital here. They wouldn't have invested so much of money in land and building. Now, what is ailing them? Many of them are successful, like Medica is hugely successful, Neotia has done very well. Others are coming up. They will come up eventually, because healthcare is one thing which you can't live without. And last 2 years have proved the point that you may not be educated, but if you're not healthy, you won't even able to survive in terms of education or economics. For education and economy, children are not going to school, they're all doing online just because they're unhealthy or possibility of being unhealthy. Just imagine, did you ever think the entire country, world will get paralyzed because health is at stake? Did you ever think that in our life only patients die? This is the first time I've seen doctors dying, nurses dying because of disease. So the health is obviously a very important ingredient in our life for becoming educated or rich or managing sustainability in our life. I think, having said whatever I've said, the beauty of what you have, you are in a very nice situation to build healthcare hubs here. Now, why that has not happened, I'll dwell on it for a couple of minutes and tell you what is the success, why you will succeed. The problem with this place is that people are all set to move out of this place at a drop of suspicion. Somebody suspects that he's got a cancer, first thing it does, takes a flight to Delhi or Bombay or South. Don't you all agree with me? People are willing to fly out. Even if they get eczema, they fly out to go to Calcutta if nothing else. That's one thing. Second thing, that those people, to get a talent, there is a government hospitals here. The doctors come on just for a day. They come on Monday, sign and disappear again, take the next evening flight. Or people have been coming here to pick up patients from here and take them to their respective location. That's a tradition. So you are truly traders in every possible way in health too. Now why? Why are you a trader here in health? Because you have not developed institution of standing. You have not built an institution which world can talk about, which is comparable with Delhi, Bombay, London, New York. Why not? We have a hospital in many hospitals in Calcutta can be compared with any hospital in the world, anywhere. They are delivering that care. You go to any part of the country, there are hospitals which are comparable with any other hospital in the world. Why we don't have it here? Because people have not invested. They think that probably my investment will not bear fruit, but it is doing it now. With the government getting into healthcare, payment, third party, it's happening. Now it is possible for us to really deliver, and unless someone comes up with an institution or we all upgrade ourselves. Like when my machine was going down in cancer hospital, we had an option of buying third-rate machine or second-rate machine and first-rate machine. We bought the futuristic machine. Halcyon, which we bought in cancer hospital here in Siliguri, I paid through my nose. But that machine is better than what even Apollo has in Calcutta. Because we felt that, fine, I'm not realizing as much money as they are realizing it, but the very fact that I provided that machine here, I'm feeling at peace in my heart. We are going to invest 120 crore here in setting up a super specialty. We will give you in nephrology, in gastroenterology, in neurology, in general surgery, in minimal invasive surgery, in cardiology, the world class you can think of. And we'll provide it here in your soil, at your home, within a year or so. Under 12 months we should be able to provide it for you. So once that happens, we are very excited. I'm sure that people will come from Nepal and Bhutan. See, Bhutan, how many things can you take by the flight? This is a place where people come by road and they come here. But they don't stay here. They take a Bagdogra flight and go back. You come to Bagdogra by flight from Delhi or Bombay, you find so many patients carrying that hospital bag with the printed hospital in the MRI, CT scan and coming in. That can be stopped if we can build a world-class institution. But just building a world-class institution is not enough again. I was just talking to TA Association, a representative here. We must integrate with the community. Community must feel that we are here for them. Unless the community has accepted you at a grassroots level, it's very difficult. Government will do it to some extent, but the private world also has to understand that healthcare is more emotional and more than just a transactional. Healthcare, we operate at two levels. We operate at transactional level. That means that when you come and see me, you pay me, I see you, you pay me 200 rupees as my fees. Fine. But you also operating with me at a very emotional level. You respect me. You think about me, you go and tell your children that I was seen by Dr. Alok Roy, so and so, and he was very nice and very kind. You tell somebody that I bought a mobile phone, that fellow was very kind. Or I bought a new car, that fellow was very kind. No. But for a doctor, you have a very emotional connect. So that emotional connect is our strength and our weakness too. That's why we get beaten. Because we have flouted the fundamental rules of emotional connect. When somebody is very emotional, I am not paying attention to him. As per him, for me it's another patient. For him, I am the one and only savior for him. So because I have not, so we have to be very careful, and we are being careful. And this time when we were at risk to deliver of our own life in COVID, in taking care, people also realize, we also realize that we need to better be emotionally more sensitive to people than just treating them. So unless the institutions connect with the community, they will not survive. We have just started, Mr. Saransh is here, we just started a community outreach program where we have linked with all the people, families in 5 kilometers of our hospital. We're giving them a card, telling them come to the hospital, we'll take care of you, get a blood sugar done free, evening, do your sugar and hypertension, blood pressure checkup as often as possible at some 20 rupees, 25 rupees, because these two are the biggest killer high blood pressure leads to the stroke. And high diabetes leads to the blood pressure and diabetes together lead to the destruction of your kidney, your heart, your eyes. So if these two things are under control, you will probably live a better quality of life. You may still die of heart attack, but at least as long as you live better. So the connect with the community is another aspect which institutions, if they come up, must undergo that transformation in their heart, in their mind, and in their action at the ground wherever they are. And two more important points is that it must be cost relevant. If I provide services which are very good, very iconic, I provide everything, but if it's cost irrelevant to that place, then it becomes a kind of not as successful as we expect it to be. Like, I am reasonably rich, but when I find a tea which cost me 10,000 rupees, I say, forget it now, how often I drink? Why should I spend so much money? It is not reasonable to spend that kind of money on something which you have once in a year. So people here, that's optional, and I don't go for it. When you have something which is not optional, you have to do it, and if it is very costly or not cost relevant, then people tend to become agitated and tend to become more upset that these things are not there for them and they can't afford it. So as a result, there is a more turmoil in the system. So I think, having said that, this place has all the reason why it should have a good world-class healthcare facilities. It has. And people coming from elsewhere, from different countries, pay full money. They don't ask for much of discount, though we help them in many ways, but they are willing to pay for what your cost is and more. Government is willing to give you money for as a third party insurance like Swasth Sathi and all that. You have seen so many advertisements for Swasth Sathi patients which are not there. Imagine thousands and thousands of patients are getting treated because government is paying. So we are all ready. Create a world-class institution, link up with the community, and there's nothing stopping us in developing a great healthcare hub in Northeast, in this region. And that would be probably make us healthcare people very, very happy that we could deliver something which helps people in saving their life and living a better quality of healthy life. Thank you very much for inviting me. Angana, thanks to you personally. Thanks to Dr. Nayantara. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Well, having Dr. Roy in this program is very special to us because in his presidentship in 2014-15, our AGM takes place in September, that's why 14-15, he was the one who encouraged us, supported us, and pushed us to have our more engagements in North Bengal. From then to now, you know, the Chamber of Commerce job is a very time-intensive job, and then there was COVID in between. But I believe that we'll find more opportunities come to Shiliguri and the other places of North Bengal because we strongly intend and our objective is to connect more with the stakeholders of North Bengal. So now we have a discussion on new opportunities, investment perspective, governance, sustainability, and business. And here in this session we have Dr. Shapon Kumar Chakraborty, Vice Chancellor, Uttar Bongo Krishi Vishwavidyalaya. He will talk on sustainable agriculture towards inclusive development, exploring possible opportunities. The other speakers we have Dr. A.R. Khan, CGM of NABARD, Mr. Bipol Chatterjee, ED of CUTS, Mr. Sanjog Datta, of course, he is here with us at the venue, and Mr. Jayanto Chakraborty, he is also joining us online. So I would request Dr. Shapon Kumar Chakraborty to please deliver his address.
Thank you, madam, and good morning to all of you. On the dais, the past president of Bengal Chamber, Madam Nayantara Chowdhury, Chairperson of Northeastern Chapter of Bengal Chambers, all the young and budding entrepreneurs, and some of you are probably well-established entrepreneurs. So at the very beginning, I would like to extend my thanks to Bengal Chambers, the most actually it's a heritage for the Bengal. It's such a wonderful historic chamber, for giving me this opportunity to interact with you all. Friends, actually I spent my almost the entire career in ICAR, Indian Council of Agricultural Research. Before joining as Vice Chancellor here, I was a director in Central Potato Research Institute in Simla. Himachal Pradesh headquarters was in Simla, and then of course there are 7 stations. So in agriculture sector, during my tenure, actually I have seen the development of processing sector in potato very, very closely, because the start of the millennium, almost there was nothing in India. It started with PepsiCo, and then of course McCain's and everything all came in the food sector. So I have some experience, because I had direct contact with those companies who were developing the processing sector in potato. Well, friends, actually today I will be speaking about the opportunities in agriculture sector particularly. My previous speaker has spoken about the health sector. That's very, very crucial. That is the top number priority. And the theme of today's actually the program is sustainability and inclusiveness. You know, that's very, 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 very important elements of any development. Development may happen, it can happen definitely, but maintaining sustainability and inclusiveness, particularly for a country like India, is the top most important here. Whatever development you do, if it is not inclusive, particularly in our country, we are about say 16%, every 6th or 7th of the global population is Indian. Keep in mind, our villages are highly, highly populated. Our land holding is very, very fragmented, particularly in agriculture sector. Particularly eastern side, it is really, say, tea gardens, of course, it's a different thing altogether. But otherwise, the land holding is very, very fragmented here, below 1 hectare land holdings. Western side, it is slightly better. In Gujarat or in Punjab, it is much better. But so we have to definitely, in agriculture particularly, those who are interested in agriculture, definitely keep in mind, should be inclusive. Otherwise, definitely, and that's the challenge basically for the entrepreneurship development and for business development in agriculture, how to make it inclusive as well as operate as a business. Our agriculture actually, globally now, particularly after the United Nations Food Summit, we actually look into the food system as a system altogether. It is not only just production of the food. There are about 4 different components. The food, of course, the food supply chains, and the input supply chains, the storage and distribution system. This is the major component. Then food environment is a big component, the affordability, the accessibility of food. So, and then say in our country particularly, what we think now, we waste a lot of food because of the shortage of good storage and the distribution system. We are producing, India in today's perspective, we are sufficient in food, but definitely global hunger index, if you see, we are in a serious condition still. Our score is about say 27, 26. It's not at all good. So there are a lot of hungry people still. We are producing, but not storing it, not distributing, taking it to the people in a proper way. So that is one area. Definitely, I would request Chamber also to highlight the storage and distribution of food. That should be a primary area. we are actually in our university also nowadays, you know, today actually the environment is for the startup. We are also encouraging a lot of our graduates not to look for job, to start some sort of startup. There are plenty of opportunities in agriculture, you know, particularly in India, if you consider, say, still this is the primary employer, the primary sector which employs nearly about 50%, nearly about 46, 47% of the total the workforce agriculture is employing. So there is a lot of opportunity. Of course, maybe your margin of profit will be not very big, but you will be giving a very good service to the people of the country. So we are encouraging our graduates to start some sort of entrepreneurship, small entrepreneurship, say beekeeping, any nursery, and some of them have been encouraged. So there is definitely, I will tell particularly in this North Bengal, plenty of opportunities there. Of course, my original place is South Bengal, but after I joined here, I have seen the scale of agriculture operation here. The farmers, what they are doing is marvelous. Say, after coming here, I have seen, I was talking about sustainability. We have national level, we are telling, okay, your whatever production system, it should be sustainable. Because probably during Green Revolution, we have degraded our soil, our water, everything. Of course, that time the primary aim was to produce, to feed the people. So that has been achieved. But we were encouraging for sustainability. But when I joined here, really I was surprised. The farmers of this region, they have already actually adopted the sustainable technology. The university has given, you know, in agriculture we call it conservation agriculture basically. Conservation agriculture means it has a primary importance is being given on sustainability. Should not degrade your water quality or environment quality. So that was actually in conservation agriculture. We have a technology and we have taken it to the farmers. Nearly about 8 to 10 years we are working. It's a very difficult concept to take to the farmers. Say if you give fertilizers, pesticides, okay, you will be your productivity will be increasing. So farmer will accept easily. But if you tell them, do not give any tillage, do not till your land, do not spray any fungicide or pesticide, it will be difficult for them to accept. But there are definitely positive side of that, and the farmers have now accepted. Nearly about in North Bengal itself, nearly about 1 lakh, more than 1,20,000 at least farmholds, they have already accepted growing crops, say maize, they are growing without tillage, zero tillage maize. If you just visit Uttar Dinajpur or Coach Bihar, you will find lot of area under zero tillage without disturbing the soil. They are growing maize, wheat, mustard, then lentils, even paddy also they are trying without giving any tillage. So that's a big thing the farmers of these regions are doing. Some sort of small entrepreneurship we have encouraged because doing this, they also need some sort of special implements. So say direct seeding, say particularly those who have some idea about Haryana or Punjab, you know, they call it happy seeder. Without the stubble burning, they can just sow the seed and use the mulch. No? So happy seeder is a component for conservation agriculture. We have already introduced here, people are using it. So that's a custom hiring center we call it. There are plenty of this type of custom hiring center has cropped up in this area. That's a big thing. Of course, small, say agriculture graduate or some sort of entrepreneur, small, say farmer, they have joined hand together and developed a custom hiring center there for this type of small equipments that will be useful for conservation agriculture with the role of sustainability in mind. So that's a very good thing, that rice transplanter And then this type of things have come up, and definitely some other areas. So these are the sustainable, that conservation agriculture is one of the area you can think of encouraging or supporting through your support. The chamber definitely will be is the catalyst, so I will just also request them to look into in agriculture field, sustainable agriculture and this type of custom hiring center, storage and distribution system. I have already emphasized on that. There are a lot of opportunity here for floriculture sector. That also actually in the university, we are now developing a floriculture hub on PPP mode. Means that hub, that floriculture, that polyhouse is being built with a private party, with the condition that he will build it, the initial investment through the government of West Bengal we are giving to him. He is constructing it with the condition that after the construction, of course, we will be using as for training to the farmers or demonstration, but whatever business he will be doing, he is free to sell it, but he has to give, say, about 25 lakhs to the university. So that type of things we are giving the space, giving him initial investment for establishing the hub. So that type of things, if somebody is interested, maybe this is coming up now, and a person from Siliguri itself is developing that in Kuch Bihar, in our campus. So floriculture again has a lot of opportunity. Government of our Department of Agriculture and Government of West Bengal is giving a lot of emphasis on that, particularly in Kalimpong. Of course, the Terai region also has a lot of opportunity. Jarbera, this marigold, this of course this this cymbidium has a international opportunity basically for the sale. So this type of floriculture, this type of things can come up here. Fruits and vegetables is another. Lots of vegetables we are growing in Kuch Bihar, particularly. There are now say this cucumber. Lot of farmers are growing cucumbers in the poly house, and cucumber has, probably some of you must be knowing, they call this gherkin, small cylindrical cucumbers for pickle making, and for very big hotels they will supply it. So that was a very good market. Lot of vegetables is being grown by the farmers here. Again, the missing thing is there is virtually no pack house for grading it, sorting it, packaging and providing. So that is one area again. Pack house, virtually there is no pack house. Lot of potatoes being growing in Dhupguri area, in Falakata. Plenty of potatoes. West Bengal, in India is the second largest producer of potato. But in this area also again, nearly about 4.5 lakh hectares potato is grown in West Bengal. In North Bengal itself, nearly about 1,40,000 hectares. So it's a big area. But virtually there is no processing factory here. In Mekliganj probably they are now developing one, but there is no. Actually, I was surprised. I have already interacted with the ITC and PepsiCo. PepsiCo, what happened? No, they have a problem. Actually, they store their potato in basically in India, particularly in this part. Potato is grown as a winter crop, harvested in the month of February, March. After that, there will be summer. So you have to put your entire produce in the cold store. That's why cold store is a big business in West Bengal, because there are about 7,000 cold stores, so you have to put the potato there. But what they are facing, this PepsiCo, when they store it, up to September, October, okay, it will be, quality will be very good for chip making. But after October, they will start deteriorating. So they are actually, they are looking for some place where they can harvest potato in the month of, say, November, December, early potato. So that actually I talked to them after joining here about 1 year back. I joined this place. I invited them, you come here, and this is the place where you can definitely grow early potato. So this time again they started, they are very happy. They harvested in the month of December, second week of December, quality was very good. So that type of things we have to encourage, so that type of some processing not only Pepsi and ITC, they are very big companies, but some of you may be interested. If you have anything in interest, you just come to us. We will be, all the way we will be helping you for this type of processing factory or anything. So this is one area, and another, just one more area I would like to emphasize, the export sector. Lot of actually now importance is being given by Government of India, Government of West Bengal for export, because what I was just telling you, we are now actually surplus in many of the areas. We are surplus production. The problem is we are not maintaining the quality of the produce. There is they call it, probably that good agricultural practices you have to follow. They call it global gap. So that type of, if you have a mind to export something, you have to follow that package for growing that crop. Otherwise, it will not be certified now for the export. So whatever, there is again plenty of opportunity, particularly the health sector. My previous speaker, Alok Sab, he was also talking about the health, actually particularly the wellness food. This is one sector people are entirely globally looking for wellness food. People are looking for this type of carotene rich anything, any food, this sort of different where you get more nutrients. So that type of things, and there is a lot of opportunity again in this, particularly in North Bengal. So this is another area for export of wellness food, processing, storage and distribution sector, floriculture and vegetables. These are the few sectors I would like to emphasize. If you have anything in your mind, if you need any help, contact us. We will be very, very happy to help you. Thank you, friends, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Chakraborty. Of course, agriculture is a key focus of the state, and the whole commercialization process of farm to market has a lot of scope of value propositions. We have with us online Mr. Jayanta Chakraborty, who is the chairperson of our Agriculture and Rural Development Committee. Mr. Chakraborty has just recovered from COVID, or else I believe we would have got him here. So we have noted your input, sir. And moving on to the next speaker, we have Dr. A.R. Khan, Chief General Manager, NOIC, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD, who has joined us online, and we have requested Dr. Khan to please address on opportunities and food processing sector and rural tourism in North Bengal. So may we request Dr. Khan to please address.
Good morning to all of you. Am I audible? Good morning to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are. Good morning.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, madam, for inviting me to share a few words. It is always pleasure talking to the dignitaries connected to Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We have interacted a few months back earlier also on this subject, and it's extremely important to focus on the food processing and agro-processing sector, because our previous speaker has rightly mentioned that we are operating in a surplus environment, and managing surplus is a problem. So we have to focus on this area of food processing so we can convert, add value to it, and it is good for the consumers as well as the producers to get a better price of the commodities. We know that as a national, as a whole, we are having food grain production, we are having horticulture production. In fact, horticulture production has exceeded the food grain production. But the problem with the processing unit is that there are three. One is the quality issues. The second is the infrastructure at the farm gate level, the production level. we have very, very minimal, rather somewhere it is in nil infrastructure insofar as post-harvest infrastructure facilities are concerned. And secondly, the connect between the producer and the market, because the producer is not even now aware of what the market demands, what quality, what volume, what season the market demands. So we are changing the production, but not linking directly to the market demand. So that's another area which we have to focus more on, the production and marketing connect. Insofar as West Bengal is concerned, particularly North West Bengal, we know that fruits and vegetables is a major, commodity. Floriculture, our previous speaker was mentioning, yes, there are certain herbal products which are available. Tea is already known in that sector. So these are the areas where a lot of scope is there for adding value and for processing and marketing. The only thing, as I said, that the processing infrastructure at the farm gate level, entrepreneurship at the farm gate level is lacking, and that is where we have to focus more. Insofar as NABARD is concerned, we have a lot of schemes. The government of India has launched so many schemes. Even the state government has got many schemes which are directed towards promoting the food processing units in the whole of the state. So some of the schemes which I would like to mention here is that, recently the government of West Bengal has also onboarded for implementing Agriculture Infrastructure Fund scheme, which was announced by the government of India. And that offers a tremendous potential for creating farm gate infrastructure. In fact, this is basically covering the post-harvest facilities, for example, the warehouses, the multi-chamber cold storages, the quality testing units, the integrated pack houses, the grading sorting units. And this is all in both the sectors. The state agencies also can create infrastructure under this scheme. The private entrepreneurs can create infrastructure. The FPOs can create. SHG federations can create. Agriculture startups can create. So it's a wide range of activities as well as the entrepreneurs which are eligible to leverage this fund that is available. So that is one area where the state government and NABARD we are focusing, and particularly in the North Bengal when the fruits and vegetable production is very high. What kind of infrastructure? So we are still in the process of assessing at the block level, at the district level, the kind of infrastructure that is required, and under different categories, that what kind of infrastructure the private sector can promote, what kind of infrastructure the state agencies can promote, and what kind of infrastructure we require for export promotion. So because the West Bengal basically is strategically located in terms of three parameters. One is that it has got the international border for 3 countries. It has got large, wide range of agroclimatic conditions. And of course, a variety of commodities are available for exports as well as for the domestic market. So block-wise, district-wise, we are in the process of mapping the kind of infrastructure that is required, which can be supported under the Agri Infra Fund. This is a huge fund of 1 lakh crores over a period of 5 years, and under this, the banks are supposed to lend for private investors and for entrepreneurs, farmers, SHGs, FPOs to create the viable infrastructure, and the government of India is providing 3% subvention on the interest rates. In addition to this, this also has got a credit guarantee facility from the Ministry of Agriculture as well as from MSME. So these are some of the benefits under the scheme, and many activities. In fact, many of the entrepreneurs, they have started submitting their proposals, which is basically warehouses, cold storages, the pack houses in those areas. The only thing that some the institutions like the Chamber of Commerce can play a very hand-holding support, so that the kind of infrastructure which is really required depending upon the commodity that comes up, because lot of hand holding, particularly to the private entrepreneurs, is required. That what kind of infrastructure, because I find that many times it happens that somebody sets up a custom hiring center, then this becomes a tradition that everybody starts setting up a custom hiring center. So that creates a problem. So a strong hand holding support, depending upon the block's need, the district need, that is required to create the kind of infrastructure by leveraging this fund and providing the support to the individual entrepreneurs. In addition to this, even the state agencies, for example, the regulated mandis, the farmers federations, the state federation, district federations, they can create a common infrastructure. State agencies can create some of the common infrastructure which the individual entrepreneurs find it difficult to create. So everybody has a role to play, and this kind of infrastructure, once it comes up, perhaps the value addition and the food processing units will pick up much faster. Another important area which the government is also promoting is that organizing these unorganized sectors under micro food processing units. There's a large number of micro food processing units which are already operating in the state of West Bengal and in the country as a whole. Now there's a need to organize them. There is need to provide a technology upgradation support. There's a need to provide the working capital support. There's a need to provide the credit facility for these units and organize them into a formal sector, so that the value addition part can be accelerated with focus on the quality as well as the volume, and it is catering to the needs of the domestic market as well as the international market. Again, the government is providing a lot of support under this, under the scheme of formalization of micro food processing units in the country. There's a big scheme, and the government of West Bengal is also implementing that scheme through the agencies. NABARD on its own is providing the credit facility to the banking channel as a concessional rate, so that the credit requirement of the smaller units can be met for upgrading the technology in this sector. In addition to this, there's a requirement for a public investment in creating large infrastructure. For example, the irrigation facilities, the mega food processing units, the processing activities, cold storage at a bigger scale, warehouses, for which the state government is creating a lot of infrastructure with support, credit support from the NABARD under Rural Infrastructure Development Fund. So in addition to this, there are of course other schemes which are being implemented at different levels. I'll not go into details of those, but some of the areas which would require a considerable focus, for example, the fisheries sector, animal husbandry sector also requires a lot of infrastructure facilities. So there's a scheme already available with the government of West Bengal to create infrastructure in the animal husbandry sector. For example, the dairy units, for example, the meat processing unit, and also the fisheries infrastructure. On the similar terms and conditions like Agri Infra Fund, this scheme is also in operation. What is required basically at the district level is the hand-holding support, mobilizing right kind of entrepreneurs for this, and helping them to come out with a good project for funding under different schemes. Once that is done, then definitely the role of the chamber is to connect these production centers with the market, and I am sure the Bengal Chamber of Commerce Industry can play a bigger role in bringing the industry closer to the production center and the farmer, because today the problem is not the production, the problem is the value addition. And value addition is important, but it requires a lot of market connect. So market connect is a big area and which requires a lot of convergence of different stakeholders. I would also suggest that for the purpose of the export promotion, there can be, with the help of the APIDA or the state government, there can be one export facilitation center in the North Bengal, so that this can become a single point for providing all kind of hand-holding support in the North Bengal to promote the export, so that the producer knows what kind of demand is there in the international market, what are the quality parameters which are required, and accordingly the production can be directed so that the quality improvement takes place, the varietal improvement takes place, because every variety is not a processable variety. There are certain varieties which are table varieties, there are certain varieties which are processable, which all know. So those kind of varieties have to be promoted in a bigger way with the quality control mechanism, and for that it requires a lot of hand-holding support. In fact, in the state of Maharashtra, NABARD has supported to Maratha Chamber of Commerce this kind of export facilitation units, and they are functioning very well. The export in those regions have gone up because there's a partnership, there's a connect between the export markets and the production centers. So these kind of infrastructure is very, very important, and I'm happy to share that the government of West Bengal is now is taking a lot of steps in creating infrastructure, both in the private sector as well as through the public investment. So, and West Bengal, particularly in the northern part, the infrastructure which is required for fruits and vegetables, that's the focus area. And NABARD is a partner in that, and we are, through the banking channel and the state agencies, we are trying to upgrade the kind of infrastructure that is required in that region. So there are 4 or 5 steps which are important on which NABARD is working. One is that agro-food processing industries, there has to be some MOU with the producers, particularly the producer organizations like the cooperative federation, the farmers organizations, that these organizations can be made to produce the quality commodities, and then the industries can provide marketing support. So that kind of partnership is one which has to be facilitated by the industry for the food processing units. Second, as I said, the Agri Infrastructure Fund, this can be leveraged by the private entrepreneurs and the FPOs to create farm gate infrastructure such as cleaning, grading, sorting units, storage, agriculture, transport, logistics, etc. And then state agencies can also leverage this to create common infrastructure and secondary processing unit, because the primary processing units can be developed at the farm gate level, but that will not help much. They need a high-end secondary processing units at cluster level, preferably having a spoke model. I think that will work by creating integrated pack houses, the quality testing laboratories, the packaging and branding material, the units. So these kind of facilities are required at a cluster level, because this cannot be centralized at the state level or the region level. This has to be at the cluster level so that it is within the reach of the producers. And the fourth one is that this mega food park which is available, there are certain food parks which has already been set up by the state agencies, but it is not yet operational to its full capacity. I think there's a need to create backward and forward linkages around those food parks so that this can take off on a commercial scale. Then there are agri startups which are coming up in the market. I think many of the agri startups, I find that they are working in West Bengal in silos, that they are providing some hand-holding support, but there is no comprehensive approach to leverage them and their capabilities to scale up that activity. So these agri startups also can be roped in for providing these post-harvest services, particularly the agriculture and processing sector in this region. And as I said, the Export Facilitation Center can be thought of by the Bengal Chamber of Commerce Industry. NABARD will be willing to help in this region for providing these kind of services. So I think these are broadly, there are many things which can be done, but to begin with, I think these are the broadly 3-4 areas where we have to focus on. If at all, we have to focus on providing the micro food processing or food processing units in the state of West Bengal. And these are the regions why there's a lot of scope for even the rural tourism. In fact, NABARD, through our grant support, we are promoting a lot of rural tourism. One we have supported in Darjeeling district, one in Alipurduar, so that these local entrepreneurs, the SHG members, they can create a homestay type of facilities, and they can attract, they can aggregate, they can attract these tourists, so that a lot of ethnic products are available in the market. That will give a lot of opportunity for marketing activities and opportunities for small entrepreneurship development if this kind of thing takes up. So we are piloting 1 or 2 projects in North Bengal for promoting rural tourism. NABARD is also focusing on the roadway facilities through the state government, that if you want to attract the rural tourists, perhaps these kind of infrastructure where the public investment is required, NABARD will be able to fund through the state government to create this kind of infrastructure. Another important area where the government of India is thinking in the case of agriculture sector is to promote large-scale drone use, the use of agriculture drone facilities. And I think the government of India, I'm told they are coming out with a subsidy scheme, incentive scheme to incentivize the agriculture startups, to incentivize the farmers, to incentivize the state agencies, KBKs, ICR institutions to acquire these kind of drones so that they can use it for agriculture purposes in a much faster and at a scale, which will give a lot of benefit to the farming community, particularly in the areas which are hilly, which are having the access problems topographically. So in these regions, these drone technologies and use of drone not only for the production purposes, but for transport, for demand management and other things, market connect with the production centers, these kind of things will be very useful. And I am told that the government of India is coming out with a scheme to have this kind of facilities in the rural segment. So these are some of the areas I thought I'll share with you. And I once again thank the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry for giving me this opportunity to share a few thoughts on this. Particularly for this Agri Infra Fund, NABARD is also, through its subsidiary, providing a hand-holding support. We are having a project management unit at the state level to ensure the smooth implementation of the scheme, provide hand-holding support down up to the block level, district level, to the entrepreneurs, and see that the infrastructure as per the requirement of the geography is created both in the public sector as well as in the private sector. Once the infrastructure constraints are minimized, then other things will take off automatically, the market connect part. So these are some of the efforts which we are making with the partnership of the state government and other agencies. And I'm sure in the days to come, the food processing segment and the agro processing, including exports, will give a massive boost, particularly from the state of West Bengal, more specifically from the northern part of West Bengal in terms of floriculture, fruits and vegetable segment. So with this, I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to say a few words, and I'll be very happy to take some of the questions which you feel like. I wish this deliberations, today's webinar, a great success, and I'll be more willing to look at the recommendations and the suggestions at the end so that we can find a space for NABARD as well to take an action on the recommendations. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Would you be able to be with us online, or we take the questions now? What would you advise?
I'll be available for some time. No issue.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. So our next speaker is Mr. Bipol Chatterjee, Executive Director, CUTS, Consumer Unity and Trust Society. He is joining us online. As Dr. Roy already mentioned, that North Bengal's advantage is in its strategic location. So we requested Mr. Chatterjee to please address on to identify avenues through which North Bengal's cross-border trade and investment can be accelerated with the neighboring countries, Bangladesh, Bhutan and Nepal. So CUTS is headquartered in Jaipur, right, Bipul? And you are joining us from where? And where are you located? Where are you joining us now, from now?
Right now I'm in Jaipur.
Okay, thank you. So would request Mr. Bipol Chatterjee, ED Cuts, to please address.
Thank you, Angana. It's just afternoon, so good afternoon, everybody. Let me begin by thanking Bengal Chamber for this opportunity to speak before this audience on a subject which is very, very important in my opinion. So Angana has asked me to talk about connectivity and investment opportunities, particularly with our neighboring countries, investment opportunities in North Bengal, particularly in our neighboring countries. And in my speech or intervention, I would like to be very, very specific, because I don't want to repeat what has already been said and make some specific suggestions or recommendations. First of all, when we have to talk about the connectivity in North Bengal, or keeping North Bengal as at the center or as a hub, we need to understand its geography, its location. There is a popular discourse that location-wise or geography-wise, North Bengal is in a disadvantageous position. I don't agree with that discourse, and I'll first tell you why. If I look at the geographic map of North Bengal, it is the link between Northeast India and rest of the country, including rest of the state of West Bengal. It is also a link between Bhutan and Bangladesh, between Nepal and Bangladesh, and also with Bangladesh, of course, and through Bangladesh, the rest of the state and the rest of the country. So we need to keep in mind this locational advantage, I would say. There are a number of connectivity initiatives which have been already undertaken or which are going on in this region. For example, the reopening of Haldibari-Chilahati railway link. What we need to do is to ensure that this particular railway route is connected with central and southern part of the state as well as the rest of India. That is definitely going to help in having better connectivity for both cargo and passenger movement from North Bengal to the rest of the country. Then there is this, and of course, it's going to make the Siliguri corridor less congested. I would also like the Bengal Chamber to take up one particular initiative. The overall, the big picture which I'm trying to draw is the decongestion of the Siliguri corridor. If we can have an elevated corridor between, let's say, Tetulia in North Dinajpur with Jalpaiguri, connecting between NH, the offshoot of NH 34 with the Asian Highway 1 is just about 6-7 kilometers over Bangladesh, elevated corridor. So this kind of innovative connectivity initiatives we have to think of. With the government of, we need to talk to the government of West Bengal, union government, as well as governments of our neighboring countries for this kind of connectivity initiatives. Waterway connectivity, again, that is possible through Tista, in particular between India and Bangladesh. We all know that Bangladesh and Nepal, they are keen to do their trade, both-way trade, via North Bengal. And this is already happening, and we hope that is going to get accelerated very soon. Now, keeping all this in mind, this is the linkage which I'm trying to draw. between investment opportunities and connectivity. Keeping all these things in mind, I think North Bengal is rightly placed. I mean, specific location. I would say a location which is near Siliguri or near Jalpaiguri under the Siliguri-Jalpaiguri Development Authority for developing a large-scale warehousing logistic hub. And if that is done, then it can serve a number of locations, including in our neighboring countries like Bhutan, like Bangladesh, and like Nepal. It can serve the need for expanding business in North Bengal with Northeast India and rest of the country. So that is one specific recommendation that I would like the Bengal Chamber to take it forward in, with the government of West Bengal and the Union government. That brings me to the larger issue of investment opportunities. Now, there are specific products which I would like to speak about. But before that, before I forget, I would like to say that I think there's a huge opportunity for two service sectors, for large-scale offering of those services, not just to the people of North Bengal, to Northeast India, the rest of the country, but also for our neighboring countries, Bhutan, Nepal, and Bangladesh. One is education, the other is healthcare services. And by education, I mean that not just having one college here or one school there, but an education setting. We can draw examples from various other parts of the world, having education cities in place, and how such cities transformed those locations, those areas, offering all kinds of education, including skills development. The second is healthcare facilities. We know that there are a number of patients, they are coming to India, particularly from our neighboring countries. They are going to southern India and various other places, including Kolkata, for medical treatment, what we call medical tourism. Why can't we have a big healthcare facility hub for all types of healthcare facilities, healthcare treatment in some location, maybe near Siliguri, near Jalpaiguri, again under the Siliguri-Jalpaiguri Development Authority, for offering those facilities to our people as well as people from our neighboring countries. I think there is huge opportunities for this. And again, I would urge Bengal Chamber to take it up with the concerned authorities in West Bengal as well as at the Union level. So these are all private sector investment. I don't want government to get into that except for facilitating. Not even public-private partnership, except for facilitating by providing land, other facilities, amenities, and things like that. So private sector investment in these facilities, this kind of facilities, that is something I would urge Bengal Chamber to look for. Now coming to specific products, I think given the ecology of North Bengal, I agree with Mr. Khan that we need to focus on those products which are locally produced and see to it that how can there be value addition and marketing. As an investor, why should I invest and invest big if I'm not sure about how quickly I'm going to market my product? And that's where the importance of connectivity and decongestion of the Siliguri corridor comes in. Now, I think for North Bengal, of course, I don't want to get into the details of or respond to what Mr. Khan has already said. North Bengal has to consider a cluster approach, which is still missing. Last year, or last year, I did an exercise with a couple of my friends where I applied the concept of rebuilt comparative advantage in the context of internal trade within India and identified a few products, district-specific products. For example, for Coach Bihar, sericulture. For Alipurduar, mushroom-based products. For Jalpaiguri, furniture mill. For South Dinajpur, furniture mill. For Kalimpong, floriculture. There is huge possibilities for these products, and these districts, they have comparative advantage of producing them. The question is first to set up the units, then do value addition and marketing. That's where the facilitation comes in. Now, a little aside, we couldn't take it forward much. But the concept was picked up by the state government of Uttar Pradesh. They have mapped the products district-wise, and today, one district, one product initiative in Uttar Pradesh is on the ground. It's being implemented in all 70-odd districts. So this is something which we definitely have to think of. If you want, I can send you that document where we identified for all 23 districts of West Bengal, the specific products where we should focus on. And I think there is investment opportunities for those products, provided there is scope for value addition and there is scope for marketing. And therefore, for marketing, where is the market? Market is not so much there in North Bengal itself. Market is there in in Northeast India, in rest of the country, including rest of the state, and through that to the rest of the world. And that is something we have to be very specific about products. We have to be very specific about markets of those products. And here again, I would urge Bengal Chamber to work with startups like, let's say, Lal 10, which is a new startup which has come up, which is what essentially they are doing. They are mapping the MSMEs all over the countries and helping them in doing trade digital, not just within the country, but with the outside world. There are many such startups. So this kind of collaborative effort, I think, is necessary for generating investment opportunities in North Bengal. Now, finally, I will end by saying a few things about our experience with the formation of FPOs, Farmer Producer Organizations, in North Bengal. We were entrusted with the responsibility by the Small Farmers Agri-Business Consortium sometime in late 2020 to set up 5 FPOs in North Bengal, 4 in Alipurduar, 1 in Coach Bihar district, along with 5 more in Rajasthan. We started our work in January 2021. But unfortunately, after 3-4 months, we had to write back to SFSC that, look, we have already invested, we have already employed people. But since the DMC, District Monitoring Committee, has not been formed, SMC, State Monitoring Committee, has not been formed, we were unable to do this work. So we withdrew. And we requested SFAC to allocate those 5 to Rajasthan, which they have done. So the point I am making that we have to move fast. And the role of the government is to facilitate that. Facilitate with optimal regulations, not over-regulation, neither under-regulation. I think FPOs, we have been running 25 FPOs in Rajasthan. We are already getting equity grant from NABARD for some of them. Warehousing grant. Now I just got a message that the government is going to provide grant, as Mr. Khan has already pointed out, for the use of drone facilities. So we are accessing all of them, and we are getting support from NABARD, from SFAC, from NCPC, from state government. all the agencies. And those FPOs are now linked with ENAMs. So they are doing direct marketing of their produce and getting very good price. So for North Bengal, I would say these FPOs, farmer producer organizations, can be very, very useful tool, useful initiatives for the betterment of the lives of farmers, number one, and for value addition through the production of seeds and things like that. So that is something where I think we need to have more focus. Again, I would urge Bengal Chamber to see to it that this initiative is implemented all over the state, not just in North Bengal, including linkages with other initiatives. I would particularly mention the Indo-Israel initiative on agriculture. I understand on vegetables there is one Indo-Israel Center of Excellence in Hooghly district or Hooghly-Bardwan border. In Rajasthan there are 3, and they are doing wonders for the betterment of our farmers. Of all places of the earth, today pomegranate is being produced in Burma and exported. So why can't it be done in North Bengal, in other parts of the state of West Bengal? Is still a question that bothers me. So we need to create, and I would strongly urge, plead with the Bengal Chamber to create an enabling environment for this kind of infrastructure-led connectivity initiatives, including digital connectivity, and investment opportunities in North Bengal. And since this meeting is about North Bengal and for the state as a whole. And I would end by urging Bengal Chamber to work closely with local media. I have done an exercise, very simple, very small exercise. I wouldn't say small. Over the last 5 years, prime time television, local TV, I haven't found one single discussion on industrial development in the state. And that's the sad part. I have no hesitation in saying that. I would urge Bengal Chamber to change it. Go for change. Make things happen. And let's do it. Ending with the Nike slogan. Thank you very much and ready for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bipol Chatterjee. So, as Ms. Pal Chaudhuri mentioned, that North Bengal has potential, of course, in the traditional businesses which are connected with North Bengal, which are synonymous to North Bengal, as well as the new age businesses, and entrepreneurship is kind of the key game changer to bring in newer dynamics. So we have with us Mr. Sanjog Datta, founder of DAMI, and he will talk about opportunities in North Bengal for new age businesses. So we are happy to have Mr. Sanjog Datta here with us at the venue. So would request him to please address.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to everyone seated at the dais and everyone in front of me. I'm probably the youngest in the room and will take the shortest time because I know everyone's been tired hearing a lot of long talks. While talking of opportunities of new age businesses in North Bengal, I would like to talk of the story of Dami, the company I started 2 years back. Dami, while not many people would know, in Nepali means very good or awesome. Now, how did Dami start? Prior to starting Dami, I was a consultant with the West Bengal's Tribal Development Department, where I had to go to villages or the remote areas in Darjeeling, Kalimpong, basically the hills of West Bengal, and support them with different schemes, make them aware of different schemes that the government of West Bengal had, facilitate these schemes so that it reached the last mile. So in 2020, once the lockdown was implemented, rather enforced, I started getting frantic calls from many of these cottage industries that used to run in these villages or remote areas of Darjeeling and Kalimpong saying, we have no food to eat. Basically, we are not earning anything. We do not have anything to eat. Our entire produce is getting spoiled because there is no market, as the entire markets were shut, as you all know. So that's when all of a sudden, I did not discuss it with any of my family members. I just told them that, okay, wait, let me see what I can do for you. Then the idea struck me that, okay, I should provide them a marketplace, basically. That's what they wanted. So I got a website built, and then I spoke to all of them, all these cottage industries, and told them, will you be able to produce enough if there is a demand? They said, yes, we will try to. So that's when I said, okay, let's start. What happens will happen. What's meant to happen will happen. And then the website was built, and then we started slowly promoting because everything was working online, and thankfully the courier companies were also functioning. So I got all their products down here I booked a warehouse in Siliguri. I got all their products down to Siliguri, and we got the website rolling. And by God's grace, everything's been fine till now. When we talk of opportunities of new age businesses in North Bengal, I think we are in a it's like cliched term, strategic location with 3 international borders and various districts and everything. But I think one of the challenges that North Bengal still faces is, especially for businesses like us, is logistics. Like, for example, if you order something on Amazon from Calcutta, to reach it to Calcutta from Bangalore, it does not take more than 24 hours. But when I am sending something from Siliguri, which is a tier 2 city or town in West Bengal, to Calcutta, it's taking 3 days. That's how sad the state of logistics is. So while there is immense opportunity, there is tea, tourism, timber, everything, but everything I think has to be thought of in a new way. While a lot of things are being done with tea, there are various blends that are coming up, there are various mixes and matches that are coming up. There is very little being done with tourism as far as marketing is concerned. Because my roots are in Darjeeling, in Kalimpong, Kurseong, I know. There are hundreds and hundreds of homestays. In Kalimpong alone, there are 300 odd homestays. In Kurseong alone, there are 100 odd homestays. In Darjeeling alone, there are more than 250 odd homestays. But where is the market? The little that they have registered on Goai Bibo or Clear Trip or anything, that's there. But the rest? What happens to the homestay that's down there in Lebong? What happens to the homestay that's there in the Gid Dabbling of Kalimpong, where probably none of you have heard of, right? They've heard of schemes, they've got government schemes, they've opened homestays, but where is the market for them? How are they marketing themselves? I think that's what has to be thought of more than anything else. Like for example, ecotourism and these little homestay tourism that people are talking about. I have a unit in Kurseong, a manufacturing unit. Very close to it there is a homestay. They say we get 2 to 3 rooms filled every week, which is a very sad affair. While a homestay in maybe a very proper location in Darjeeling is full all throughout the week. So marketing wise, we have not been able to reach that lowest level. While the government is providing all the support it can with this various schemes, the marketing aspect is something that is lacking. So I think for this applies to the other new age businesses that are thriving, not thriving or starting in North Bengal as well. For example, us. At Dami, we have generated in the last less than 2 years, we have generated sales of more than 500 crore. But that is with the little marketing that we've done done ourselves, with a little support from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. But where are the other marketing support that we are supposed to get? That is something I think these chambers, the various chambers that are around, will probably delve into and give some insight. And of course, North Bengal is a thriving destination, tourism-wise, industry-wise, healthcare, like the first speaker just said. But again, North Bengal is still considered the stepbrother of South Bengal, right? That has to change. We do not have a second airport. If Bagdogra is clogged throughout the day. If you reach Bagdogra for an afternoon flight, you have to reach at least 3 hours in advance. Otherwise, you will miss your flight because of the security delay, right? So I'm happy that Malda Airport is coming up and everything. But yes, the stepbrotherly attitude for North Bengal that is slowly changing these days is something that we all have to keep in mind. And I'm here, I think, more than North Bengal, I will advocate for Darjeeling and the Kalimpong Hills. While there is a lot of tourism and tea and everything that people talk of, I think Darjeeling, Kalimpong are still unexplored. If you ask people about Darjeeling, they will tell you Caventers, they'll tell you Chaurasta, they'll tell you Mall Road, they'll tell you Glenaries. If you ask people about Kalimpong, they'll tell you Delo, they'll tell you some nurseries, they'll tell you Dr. Graham's homes. That's it. But what about the other areas? What are we doing to promote the other unexplored areas? I think these are some areas that we need to delve into. I think I've spoken more about challenges than opportunities, and I would like to end here. Thank you so much. Okay, sorry. Yeah, at Dami, we are promoting a whole range of products. While we have our own range of cold cuts manufacturing units in Kalimpong, Darjeeling and Kurseong, at Dami, we are bringing these various cottage industry products like handicrafts, Buddhist incense, Buddhist prayer material, food material like pickles, the gundruk, the bamboo shoot. We ship fresh bamboo shoot all over India. We're probably the only platform doing that, right? Then we ship even meat items. We've developed a packaging technology where we ship smoked meats all over India. We ship Chinese sausages all over India, right? So these are some of the items, and if you go to our platform, you'll basically see more of food products than anything, because in the last 1.5 years, what we've realized is people are more interested in eating than anything else. So Yeah, I mean, these are some of the items that you find on our platform, and most of the items we ship all over India except the cold cuts. The cold cuts we are shipping only in Siliguri and in Calcutta right now. I think that's more about Dami, and thank you once again to everyone here.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Datta. I would request the AV, my colleague at the AV, if we could have the speakers online on the screen. Yeah, I must mention that Ms. Pal Chaudhary, she being the chairperson of the North Bengal and Northeast Committee, she pushed me that we must have a young entrepreneur. And I'm so happy that we reached out to Mr. Sanjog Datta, and he brought in completely, fresh and dynamic perspectives of doing business in North Bengal. Thank you, Mr. Datta. And Dr. Khan and Mr. Bipol Chatterjee also addressed. We have noted the advice of Dr. Khan, and that Bengal Chamber works closely with NABARD and from the Agriculture and Rural Development Committee. We have noted his advice and we'll focus on those, and of course the inputs from Mr. Bipol Chatterjee also. The Chamber has deep connect with CARTS and complementing each other in areas which are of mutual work area. So with this, we would take a couple of questions before we request Mr. Jayanta Chakraborty to deliver the vote of thanks. So the floor is open. Yes, Dr. Sujanil Ghosh. We need.
I present organization.
Sir, just give me a minute. I'll give you a mic because.
I represent an organization called Total Start. I'm very proud to say that we have 2 business incubators in North Bengal area, one in Kalimpong, which opened up about a year back, and one in Gangtok, which is not North Bengal, but kind of extended part of the area. Now, we do a lot of work, which exactly what Professor Chakraborty, Dr. Khan, and all others are focused on, which is in agriculture. We do a lot of work on that area here. I have a question to both Dr. Khan. Is he there? Dr. Khan, is he there?
Yeah, Dr. Khan is there. Shujish, we want the screen on the speakers
so
on the screen.
I have a question for Dr. Khan and Professor Chakraborty. We are, for the last 4 years, we are developing a kind of we call it as scalable community enterprises. So there are 800 small tea growers in Darjeeling district with 2 small tea processing units. We have been engaging with them for the last 4 years. There's a 2 tea processing, and we have been trying to support them, trying to put them together. It has been an uphill task because you need to. The challenges of creating this community enterprises through a FPO or anything is the leadership team. So the leadership team is not formed; it's very difficult. So what we'll ask both Dr. Khan and also Professor Chakraborty is that how you can support at the ground level is very difficult, because that's the maximum support we need at the ground level through your organizations, working with organizations like us to develop them. Now we know the CBPO is there, the RIs are there, supported by whether it's the NABARD or NAFED, and the challenges are that they don't have that strength. You need people who are very experienced to develop an FPO, and typically the people we have which can be supported are very junior level people who does the hand-holding, mentoring, supporting. It's very difficult. So the very strong engagement, now for example, NABARD provides this DDMs, and they engage with us, but their chock-a-block very much full. The time is very full. For example, we are forming a FPO for small flower floriculturist in Kalimpong, with about 40-50 of them, and the NABARD DDM, Mr. Bipol Chatterjee, was there for a visit out there. So what we ask Dr. Khan, Professor Chakraborty, that I know you have very common interest. To question goes to both of you, that how you can more rigorously support organizations like us. We are not a CBPO, but we have a lot of very senior level people who are engaged. We have 2 business incubators in this area to support us to develop this scalable community enterprises in a more engrossed way. And we have 4 or 5 projects We have Mr. Nirmal Bhattarai, who's from Gangtok. He runs our business incubator there. And there also we are developing in West Sikkim, in a kiwi, similar to something which we are doing in Zero in Arunachal Pradesh. We are doing a plantation of, we're just starting it off recently, FPO. So we have a few projects where we need a lot of handholding and support. And the engagement of NABARD, if you can say how you can get it from NABARD, and Professor, you suggested we go to you. We have reached out earlier to your last VC. He was a schoolmate of mine from my school days. We were, so we Chirantan. So we have, and then you took on the hold since last year. So we would ask both of you to support us. Our strong presence in North Bengal, along with Bengal Chambers, we would love to get your support and your advice that how you can further explore and do it. Dr. Khan,
Dr. Khan, please. Yeah.
So how are you, Mr. Ghosh?
Very good, Dr. Khan. I look forward to meet up with you in Calcutta soon.
Okay, so good that you are present there. In fact, we have already interacted. See, what you have said is perfectly, I agree with you that there's a strong need to have a technology partnership with the kind of institutions which you have. And as I said, that FPOs and CBBOs, I agree with you, you require experts. Anybody cannot be a CBBO. You require a lot of skill, a lot of technical manpower to engage with the FPOs and particularly the Small Tea Growers Association to help them. Small Tea Growers Association, basically they suffer from the lack of technology as well as lack of the credit facility. So if anything, that is why we said through the FPO module, if somebody can help them out, in fact, we have discussed with the board also, and the Government of India, I am told, is coming out with some big package for the small tea growers in 2-3 states. So from NABARD's point of view, whatever facility is available, particularly the credit facility through the banking channel, the collectivization facility through FPO module, that we are working on and we are supporting that way. But if you have some proposal, we can always discuss, and the institutions like yours can provide a lot of technology hand-holding support to the existing FPOs or even the Small Tea Growers Association. In fact, NABARD is very keen to help this sector in much bigger way, provided there is some institution we can take a lead in this. So definitely, if you have some good proposal, we would like to discuss with that. And I would like to just clarify, Mr. Bipol Chatterjee, our colleague, he was talking about the district and state level committees under the FPO scheme. So I am happy to tell that 2 months back now, Government of West Bengal has already come out with the notification, and the committees now are in place and they are working on the ground. So I am hopeful that during the next 5 to 6 months, a substantial progress will be there in the FPO promotion segment as well. Thank you. I think
we lost 1 year, right?
Sorry?
We lost 1 year.
No, that is true, because the government has taken some time, but then about 2 months.
We could do it in Rajasthan, for example. Very easy.
And NABARD has been engaging with the state government to come out with kind of notification. But at least we have lost 1 year, but still 4 years are there with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. It was really nice to listen to you. You are a friend of my predecessors. He is just like my younger brother. That's why it's a really pleasure to meet you. Okay, actually, what you are talking, say, I will not be able to speak anything about the financial support. That probably Mr. Khan has already replied about it. But for community service enterprises, lot of things we are doing. Actually, university is doing through these Krishi Vigyan Kendras. We have a chain of Krishi Vigyan Kendras. Each district we have. Small business, including involving the community of that area. Say, one of my colleagues is present here, this Uttar Dinajpur KVK, one Anjali Sharma. She has also given very small technology for involving the community, say the ladies of that, women of that area. So that type of help.
ঈশ্বর আমাদের এই প্রকৃতির রূপে সমস্ত সম্বর করে আমাদের সাজিয়ে দিয়েছে। এখানে একজন টুরিস্ট তার লেজার, তার বিজনেস ট্রাভেল, তার এন্টারটেনমেন্ট, তার যত ধরনের রিকোয়ারমেন্ট থাকতে পারে একটা ট্রাভেল অ্যান্ড ট্যুরের জন্য, তার সমস্ত কিছু ঈশ্বর আমাদেরকে ভরপুর করে দিয়েছে। ফুটহিলস, ডুয়ার্স, তিস্তা রিভার, lush green tea garden, dense forest, rare wildlife, a rich culture, community, all together, it's a huge and enormous potentiality. আমার মনে হয় আমরা হয়তো তার অল্প কিছুটাই এখনো ইউজ করতে পেরেছি। এই ট্যুরিজম, এই প্রচুর সম্ভাব্য যে রিসোর্স আমাদের প্রাকৃতিক সম্পদকে বেস করে এবং এর গুরুত্ব, এটা যদি আমরা ইউজ করতে পারি পুরোপুরি, ট্যুরিজম এই অঞ্চলের ইকোনমিক স্ট্রাকচার মেনটেন করার জন্য একটা সবথেকে গুরুত্বপূর্ণ রোল প্লে করে এবং এটা লম্বা সময় ধরে থাকবে এবং এখানকার যে ইয়াং জেনারেশন তাদেরকে এমপ্লয়মেন্ট দেওয়ার জন্য এবং আগামীতে দেশের রেভিনিউ থেকে শুরু করে লাইফস্টাইলকে ডেভেলপমেন্ট করার ক্ষেত্রে অনেক বড় রোল এই ট্যুরিজম প্লে করবে। আমি এখানে আমরা লাস্ট 10 বছরে ট্রাভেলার্সদের মাইন্ডসেট, তাদের ট্রাভেল করার উদ্দেশ্য এবং দ্য সাইজ অফ ট্রাভেল enormously increased we have observed last decade. আগে টুরিস্ট ট্রাভেল করতো সেই পার্টিকুলার জায়গা থেকে বিভিন্ন সাইট সিনসগুলো ঘোরার জন্য, কিন্তু এখন মেজরিটি টুরিস্ট ট্রাভেল করে তাদের হ্যাসেল একটা ব্যস্ত জীবন থেকে বেরিয়ে এসে কাম কুল প্রকৃতির কোলে বসে 2 দিন সময় কাটাবে। তারা ওই পার্টিকুলার লেজার ডেস্টিনেশনে কিছু অ্যাক্টিভিটিস করবে বা সেখানে তাদের কোয়ালিটি টাইম তাদের খুব নিয়ার অ্যান্ড ডিয়ারদের সঙ্গে স্পেন্ড করবে। এর ফলে লেজার ট্যুরিজমের স্কোপ এখানে অফুরন্ত। ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার, গভর্নমেন্ট, সেন্ট্রাল or state, both enormously trying to do best possible, creating roads, bridges and all others. In the same time, আমাদের মতো অর্গানাইজেশন এই অঞ্চলের বিভিন্ন ইয়াং যারা কলেজ সবেমাত্র কমপ্লিট করেছে বা যারা ব্যাকওয়ার্ড আছে তাদেরকে নিয়ে এসে আমরা বিভিন্ন সময় এথোয়া, ইস্টার্ন হিমালয়ান ট্যুর অপারেটর অ্যাসোসিয়েশন, বিভিন্ন গভর্নিং বডি, বিভিন্ন সোশ্যাল অর্গানাইজেশনের সঙ্গে মিলে বিভিন্ন রকম প্ল্যাটফর্ম ক্রিয়েট করার চেষ্টা করছে। তার মধ্যে আমার পূর্ববর্তী বক্তা আমাদের খুব ইয়াং এন্টারপ্রেনার, সো ইন্সপায়ারিং, উনি বললো যে অপরচুনিটি ইজ দেয়ার, অনলি নিড আ প্রপার direction, how to connect with the people, potential marketing tools দরকার আছে এবং তাদেরকে মোটিভেট করার দরকার আছে। তারা মোস্ট অফ দ্য টাইম সোশ্যাল মিডিয়াতে তো স্পেন্ড করছে, বাট হাউ টু গ্র্যাব দ্য অপরচুনিটি ইউজিং দ্য সোশ্যাল মিডিয়া প্ল্যাটফর্ম দে ডাজ নট নো। সো ইট ইজ আওয়ার রেসপন্সিবিলিটি টু গাইড দেম, টু সাপোর্ট দেম অ্যান্ড টু এনহ্যান্স দ্য বিজনেস বেস্ট পসিবল ওয়ে ইউটিলাইজিং অল দ্য মিডিয়া। তো এখানে এই ধরনের অপরচুনিটি তো প্রচণ্ড আছে। আমি বলবো আগামী দিনে আমরা এটাও দেখে এসেছি যে কর্পোরেট ট্যুরিজম, আগে আমরা নর্থ বেঙ্গলের ট্যুরিজম মানেই কিন্তু একটা মোস্টলি ধরা যেত যে কলকাতা বেস, সাউথ বেঙ্গলে কিছু ট্যুরিস্ট নর্থ বেঙ্গলে ঘুরতে আসবে, ডুয়ার্স কভার করবে। আমরা লাস্ট ডেকেড এটা ট্রিমেন্ডাসলি অবজার্ভ করেছি। এই নর্থ বেঙ্গলের বিভিন্ন শহর, শিলিগুড়ি, রায়গঞ্জ, মালদা থেকে শুরু করে আরও যে বিভিন্ন শহরগুলো আছে, সেই সমস্ত শহর থেকেও a maximum number of travelers are coming out to explore the destination. এটা আমাদের জন্য একটা বিশেষ বড় সুযোগ যে তারাও এই নর্থ বেঙ্গল থেকে এই সমস্ত অঞ্চলগুলোই করছে। এটা সেই পার্টিকুলার ওই রিজিয়নে থাকা ছোট ছোট হোমস্টে থেকে শুরু করে যে কোনো অঞ্চলে ট্যুরিজম এবং ট্যুরিজমের সঙ্গে যুক্ত থাকা ইকোনমিক ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার তাদের লাইফস্টাইল, তাদের লিভলিহুডে অনেক বড় একটা মাত্রা দিবে আগামী দিনে। এর পাশাপাশি কর্পোরেট ট্যুরিজম ডে বাই ডে ইনক্রিজিং র্যাপিডলি। Corporate tourism, spending 1 night, 2 nights, there are enormous potentiality. Tara kono sightseeing korte jay na, tara most of the time they go to spend and have meetings and interact with the local people to understand local culture, local kichur jonno. To eta opportunity ache. Amra jani je wedding destination coming is the biggest market. উইডিং ডেস্টিনেশনসকে যদি প্রপার ট্র্যাক করা যায়, আমার মনে হয় নর্থ বেঙ্গলের যে টুরিস্ট ডেস্টিনেশনসগুলো আছে, স্পেশালি ডুয়ার্স, কালিম্পং, আমাদের এই যে এর থেকে ভালো ডেস্টিনেশন একদমই হতে পারে না। যখন এই সমস্ত ফুলফিল করার জন্য যা যা রিসোর্সেস দরকার আছে, এভরিথিং ইজ দেয়ার, only need a proper presentation with proper marketing skill, with the proper track, এটা দরকার আছে। আমরা রিসেন্টলি আমি ক্রান্তি, লাটাগুড়ি এগুলো এর মধ্যেই 7-8 দিন আগে ঘুরে এসেছি। আই ওয়াজ কোয়াইট সারপ্রাইজ অ্যান্ড হ্যাপি টু সি দ্যাট হাউ দ্য রোড ইজ। আগে যা ছিল এখন এটা এনোমাসলি ডেভেলপ করছে। দ্যাট মিনস এভরি গভর্নমেন্ট আর ট্রাইং দেয়ার বেস্ট। নাও ইটস টাইম অফ আওয়ার্স টু পার্টিসিপেট ফর দ্য ডেভেলপমেন্ট অফ ট্যুরিজম, the major and master pillar of our region. Thank you very much. I hope any questions?
I think we can take the questions after the presentation is over. Then we can have a couple of questions from the audience. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
আমার মনে হয় আপনি আপনার বক্তব্য রাখার পর তারপরে আমরা কিছু কোশ্চেন নেব অডিয়েন্স থেকে, 2-3টে কোশ্চেন নেব, নিয়ে আমরা অনুষ্ঠানটাকে শেষ করব।
শিওর। আমরা এথুয়া আমরা রিসেন্টলি আইআইএস এর সঙ্গে একটা জয়েন্টলি আমরা একটা ট্রাভেল ট্যুরিজম কোর্সও নিয়ে এসেছি, যেটা এই অঞ্চলে ডুয়ার্স, পাহাড়, সমতল, বিভিন্ন পিছিয়ে পড়া মানুষ, বিভিন্ন ছাত্রদের, তাদেরকে কিভাবে হাউ টু স্কিল ডেভেলপমেন্টের জন্য কী করে আরও বেটারমেন্ট করা যায়, যারা পরবর্তীতে ট্যুরিজমের সঙ্গে পার্টিসিপেট করবে এবং তারা তাদের কেরিয়ারকে আরও ভালোভাবেই করতে পারবে। আমরা আইএএসের সঙ্গে কোলাবোরেট করে খুব সুন এটা লঞ্চ করছি। এবং আমার মনে হয় কিছু কিছু জিনিস সত্যি আমি অ্যাজ এ ইনপুট রাখবো, যেটা খুব দরকার। আমার আগের বক্তা বলেছিল, এটা সত্যি তাই, যে এই অঞ্চলে যদি হোমস্টে আগামী দিনে একটা বড় ফিউচার, বড় প্রসপেক্ট। কেন কোনায় কোনায় এখানে অপরচুনিটি আছে। আমি যদি বলি যে ডুয়ার্সের কোনো একটা নদীর পাড়ে একটা সুন্দর একটা কটেজ হয় বা একটা হোমস্টে হয়, যেমন অপরচুনিটি আছে একটা ফরেস্টের পাশে বা একটা টি গার্ডেনের মাঝেও কিন্তু একটা সুন্দর টি ট্যুরিজম সেন্টার হতে পারে, যেখানে একটা ভালো, যেখানে কি লোক টি ট্যুরিজম এখানকার এই জিনিসগুলোকে আরও বেটার আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড করবে। ইন্টারনেট প্লেস এ ভাইটাল রোল। এই হোমস্টেগুলো আমরা কিছুদিন আগে একটা মিটিংয়ে আমরা কথা বলছিলাম, বলছে আমাদের সবথেকে মেজর সমস্যা হচ্ছে যে আমরা কানেক্ট করতে পারি না। কেন? আমাদের এখানে ইন্টারনেটের একটা বড় সমস্যা, যে এই কোর অঞ্চলগুলিতে যদি ইন্টারনেট পরিষেবা যদি ভালো করে আরেকটু স্ট্রং করা যায়, তো এই সবারই তাদেরকে অ্যাক্সেস করতে এবং তাদের সঙ্গে আরও মেজর প্ল্যাটফর্মের সঙ্গে জুড়তে অনেকটা হেল্প করবে। সেকেন্ড হচ্ছে এখানকার মুড অফ ট্রান্সপোর্টেশন। রোড তো ঠিকই আছে, এখন অনেকটা আরও দিন দিন ভালো হচ্ছে, কিন্তু ফ্লাইটস, আমি আজকেই দেখছিলাম আমাদের কিছু ক্লায়েন্টস বলছিল, গ্রুপ, তারা বলছে যে স্যার আমরা গত মাসে দেখেছিলাম যে আপ অ্যান্ড ডাউন এটা 8,000 টাকা ছিল, আজকে হঠাৎ করে এপ্রিলের ফার্স্ট উইকে 13,000। দ্যাট মিনস ডিমান্ড ক্রাইসিস। এখানে আরও বেশি সংখ্যক ফ্লাইট আমাদের বাগডোগরা এয়ারপোর্টে অপারেট করতে হবে। কেন? আমাদের যা ট্যুরিস্টের যা এখানে ডিমান্ড থাকে অ্যারাইভেলের, তার অনেকটাই সেটা ফুলফিল করতে পারে না বিকজ অফ এই ফ্লাইট এবং ট্রেনের ক্রাইসিস, টিকেটের ক্রাইসিসের জন্য। প্লিজ। Yeah, I have finished. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask me, please.
I think, thank you, Mr. Chakraborty, for a very, very detailed presentations. Thank you from Bengal Chamber of Commerce for your deliberations. And it is true that there is an opportunity everywhere is there. So now, Shujishmita, you can take it forward about the if some 2 or 3 questions you can take it on.
Okay, sir. So I would request participants, anybody interested to ask some questions for the speakers in online and for physical, you may raise your hand. Okay, I would request from AV to take the mic. You may please introduce yourself and you may ask the question to the speaker you want to.
হ্যালো নমস্কার, আমি কুচবিহার থেকে এসেছি। আমার নাম দিলীপ বণিক। আমি কুচবিহার ডিস্ট্রিক্ট ইন্ডাস্ট্রিয়ালিস্ট ওয়েলফেয়ার অ্যাসোসিয়েশনের পক্ষ থেকে 3 জনকে নিয়ে আসছি। 5 জন আসার কথা, 2 জন আসেনি। মেন কথা হচ্ছে আমাদের কুচবিহারে শিল্পের জন্য অনেক ভালো সুযোগ সুবিধা আছে। আমরা ক্যাপ্টেনশিপ করে আমি নেতৃত্বে 4 বছর থেকে পুরো জেলাকে জোন ঘোষণা করতে পেরেছি আমাদের অমিত মিত্র স্যারের থেকে। সেখানে আমি চাই আমাদের কুচবিহারের লোকাল এন্টারপ্রেনাররা অনেক আছে, ছোট ছোট সুযোগ সুবিধা অনেক আছে। আমি চাই আমাদের কুচবিহারে বাইরে থেকে যারা আমাদের নর্থ বেঙ্গল ডিস্ট্রিক্ট থেকে যারা ওখানে উদ্যোগ নিয়ে কাজ করতে চায় বা ওখানে ইন্ডাস্ট্রি করতে চায়, তাকে আমরা আমাদের পক্ষ থেকে আবার জেলা প্রশাসনের পক্ষ থেকে সহযোগিতা করব। তারা ওখানে এগিয়ে আসুক, কুচবিহারের শিল্প সমৃদ্ধি করুক। কারণ কুচবিহারকে শিল্প না করলে কুচবিহারকে ডেভেলপ করা যাবে না। কুচবিহারকে কেন্দ্র করে নর্থ ইস্ট মার্কেটে বিরাট মার্কেট আছে, স্কোপ আছে। এবং নর্থ ইস্ট ছাড়াও ওখানে কৃষিজাতীয় অনেক কিছু ফসল হয়, বিশেষ করে আলু, ভুট্টা, তামাক এবং এখন এইসব ফসলের উপর অনেক কিছু কাজ হচ্ছে। তাই আপনাকে অনুরোধ করব আপনাদের পক্ষ থেকে ওখানে ইনভেস্টার কিছু পাঠান। আমরা আমাদের পক্ষ থেকে, আমার পক্ষ থেকে সহযোগিতা করার জন্য সব রকম চেষ্টা করবো। ইনভেস্টাররা লাগবে। নমস্কার, আমি দিলীপ বণিক বলছি।
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have noted your point. We will try to convey the message to the department maybe and to the stakeholders. Anybody else who would like to ask any question, or yeah, somebody else's hand. You may please introduce yourself and name the speaker to whom you want to ask.
আমার নাম দিব্যেন্দু পাল। আমি মেনলি ট্যুরিজমের জন্য কিছু কোশ্চেন করতে চাইছি। আমি বিলং করি উত্তর দিনাজপুর ডিস্ট্রিক্ট। আমার মেন হোম টাউন রায়গঞ্জ। আপনাদের জানা থাকবে যে সেখানে কুলিক ফরেস্ট আছে, সেটা হচ্ছে বার্ডের জন্য বিখ্যাত এবং আমাদের মনে হয় এশিয়ার মধ্যে সেকেন্ড বা ইন্ডিয়াতেও একটা সেকেন্ড জায়গা রেখেছে। তো সেখানে কোনো ট্যুরিজমের কিছু সেভাবে কোনো পরিকল্পনা হয়নি আজ অবধি। এবং উত্তর দিনাজপুর ডিস্ট্রিক্ট খুব পিছিয়ে পড়ার ডিস্ট্রিক্ট এন্টার ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গলের মধ্যে এবং নর্থ বেঙ্গলের মধ্যেও কানেক্টিভিটি খুবই খারাপ। ওখানকার যে রায়গঞ্জ শহরের যে রেল কানেক্টিভিটি খুবই খারাপ, তাও এখন বর্তমানে রোড হচ্ছে। তো এখন যেহেতু ন্যাশনাল হাইওয়েটা খুব ভালো হচ্ছে, তো ওখানে ট্যুরিজম নিয়ে কিছু করা যেতে পারে এবং মেডিকেল দিক থেকেও খুব পিছিয়ে আছে। তো সেখানটার থেকে কিন্তু আমার মনে হয় মেডিকেলের একটা হিউজ জায়গা আছে, যেহেতু রায়গঞ্জের সঙ্গে মালদা, দক্ষিণ দিনাজপুরে বালুরঘাট প্লাস ওদিক দিয়ে কিছু রাস্তাও যদি বের করা যায় বাংলাদেশের সাথে, তাহলে সেখানে ট্যুরিজম এবং মেডিকেল ট্যুরিজম দুটোই করা যেতে পারে এবং সেখানে প্রচুর ল্যান্ড অ্যাভেলেবেল আছে। তো আমার এটাই বক্তব্য, যদি আপনাদের থেকে কেউ কিছু করতে চান সেটা অবশ্যই খুব ভালো হবে। থ্যাংক ইউ।
থ্যাংক ইউ। মানে আপনার বক্তব্য বিশেষভাবে প্রশংসনীয় এবং আপনার যেটা সাজেশন আছে সেটা আমরা যথার্থ জায়গায় যারা নাকি ইনভেস্টর মিট যখন হয় বা যারা ইন্টারেস্টেড আছেন তাদের কাছে নিশ্চয়ই পৌঁছে দেবো আমরা। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Thank you.
Almost
So it's almost time, so we can close, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to thank Mr. Jayanto Chakraborty to moderate the session and to join us online to give his precious time. And I also wanted to thank all the speakers online and both physically present here. And special thanks to the participants who have been joining us since in the morning. And I want to thank our sponsors, without whom this program would not be possible. Medica Group of Hospital, especially Medica North Bengal Clinic, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, Techno India Group and Siliguri Institute of Technology, Tata Steel Downstream Products Limited, Andrew Yule and Company Limited, Indophil Industries Limited. Thank you all. So there is another session here in the evening at Techno, which I would request all to join. We have a transport here. We can avail the bus to reach to the institute. The session starts at 4 p.m. and it will be a 1-hour session. I would request all the participants and the speaker to join us for lunch. Thank you all. Look forward to have you again with us in the next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Namaskar. Thank you.
Oh, and sorry, I forgot. I forgot to facilitate Mr. Pranush Chakraborty. I would request my daughter Sanvi to present a memento to him. Come, Sanvi. Huh? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, sir. The program is supported both by Techno India and Siliguri Institute of Technology.
But the venue is Siliguri Institute
No,
of
I
Technology.
said the venue.
People will be confused. Okay.
Thank you. Please join us for the lunch.
If you need, definitely you approach us. There are several, most of the KVKs, they have developed some entrepreneurship module involving this type of communities. So all the KVKs have this type of module. Any help, any training or any sort of, take them to KVK for a small training, definitely that will be, because only technologically we can help you. And the thing is, actually, if you are doing that, the two things I would request you to keep in your mind. Now, even within India, domestic consumers as well as international consumer, definitely, they will be looking for quality. Be conscious about the quality, whatever you are promoting through your community involvement. People, you cannot not be able to market any produce or any produce to any country. No, now people are very conscious about the quality, so keep in mind that. And definitely there are a lot of things happening. You just contact with us. We'll be helping you for developing their skill in that area. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for brevity of time. We are moving on to the next session, and before that we would request Mr. Joyanto Chakraborty, the Chairperson of Agriculture and Rural Development Committee of the Bengal Chamber and the Senior General Manager of Indophil Industries Limited, to please deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Angana. Good afternoon to all. I think since morning we have discussed on health, agriculture and agricultural export, tea and tea tourism, and cross-border trade, as well as new age business. If I correlate each and every one, then I think few of the things are coming common here. First is market connect, which is the gap in every sector. Then networking, collaborations, and innovations. I think these are the 4 or 5 pillars which is common to all everywhere. And before I give my formal vote of thanks, I think from Dami, he has very validly mentioned that the challenges are there. But if you see the growth of Indian startups, and particularly in agriculture, you will find a sea change took place in the last 10 years actually. Just give an example. You take a name of few unicorns like Dehat, Udan, Ninjakot, Fasal. But here, it is not their turnover, it is their market connect. It is their farmer base. 5 million farmers are the strengths of these companies also. So that is why they are progressing towards. And digital platforms are there. And they have rightly mentioned APOs, private investments, all the things are very important here. So I think at Bengal Chamber, we are connecting with NABARD. Dr. Khan is here. We have recently concluded our APO summit also, and we are progressing further also. So before, I think it is a long journey for us to reach to the next level. So it gives me great pleasure in delivering the formal vote of thanks. The Chamber believes that it would be meaningful to annualize this program so that there is a regular connect of the Chamber with the stakeholders of the North Bengal. We would like to thank our speakers sincerely for carving out time for their busy schedule to join us today. Really, it is a great pleasure for the Chamber that you all eminent speakers could make out time to reach to us for our members present in the audience as well as in the online also. Our heartfelt thanks to the sponsors. Without those support, we would not have been able to mount this program. Medica Group of Hospitality, particularly Medica North Bengal Clinic, National Bank of Agriculture and Rural Development, that is NABARD, Techno India Group and Siliguri Institute of Technology, Tata Steel Downstream Products Limited, Andrew and Company Limited, and Indophil Industries Limited. We are happy that our past presidents and senior members have joined us and supported this endeavor. We are happy to share with you that members of the Bengal Chamber has substantial business interest in North Bengal, which has encouraged us to embark on this initiative. You see, always it is not like South Bengal only. It is North Bengal also who is equally important to Bengal Chamber of Commerce for connecting more people. And as rightly mentioned by the previous speakers, the Chamber is a platform for the policy advocacy and to create, you can say, enthusiasm among the policy makers for coming forward also. Our aim is to connect with more stakeholders of North Bengal. The Chamber believes that meaningful value proposition may be created by facilitating the business ecosystem with knowledge sharing, B2B connect, policy advocacy, and trade facilitation. Our special thanks to our audience. We'd also like to thank our friends from the media in helping us connect with larger audience. The potential of North Bengal is immense and still untapped compared to its possibilities. We are committed for the development of the North Bengal. Thank you all for your kind presence.
Thank you. And before we formally close this session, we have a very pleasant task to perform. We would request a very special guest, Sanvi Shaha, to please present a token of our gratitude to the dignitaries. Of course, Mr. Chatterjee and Dr. Khan and also Mr. Datta are our distinguished guest, and Ms. Pal Chaudhuri forms the leadership of the chamber, but this is a special, this is like a small token of our gratitude. I would request Sanvi to please come. Come. So, Dr. Chakraborty. Okay, Vidya. To now Mr. Dotto, Sanjo, and the speakers and the dignitaries who have joined you online. We will connect with your office to send the token of our gratitude. And now to Ms. Pal Chaudhuri also. This I know, that's why I mentioned. And this is a so, gender inclusiveness is a key focus of the chamber, which is not exactly purview of this program, but we really believe that it is kind of a horizontal subject and not a vertical one, and the charity begins at home. So Sanvi is the daughter of Shuchishmita, who has been coordinating with all of you. So we believe that it's important for us to create an ecosystem for our women colleagues to work more comfortably. Thank you. So with this, we will move on to the next session. I would request Shuchishmita to please make an announcement of the speakers who are with us. Shuchishmita, Dr. Dev Gupta is calling. You may take the call. So Mr. Jayanta Chakraborty will be moderating this session. So the speakers are Mr. Ayanav Dev Gupta, co-founder and joint managing director, Medica Hospitals. Ms. Ekta Jaju, founder and CEO of Organic Foods. Mr. Neeraj Prasad, deputy general manager, State Bank of India. Mr. S.K. Mondal, assistant executive, the Agriculture and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority. And Mr. Pranesh Chakraborty, senior executive council member, Eastern Himalayas Travel and Tour Operators Association. Shuchishmita, would you be making the announcement of the speakers who are with us? Oh, all of them are with us. So we would request Mr. Pranesh Chakraborty to please join us on the dais. And so Mr. Chakraborty has joined us at the venue. And of course, Mr. Jayanta Chakraborty and the other speakers have joined us online. So Mr. Chakraborty, as in Mr. Pranish Chakraborty, to please take your seats on the dais. And in between, there's a small announcement I would like to make, that in the second half, say around 4 o'clock, we have another session at Siliguri Institute of Technology. They have very kindly hosted a special program where Mr. Sanjog Datta and Ms. Ekta Jaju are addressing, and which will be followed by a networking high tea. And it's a lovely, very impressive campus. So it kind of, showcases the knowledge and education potential of North Bengal. So we'll be really very happy that if you could join us in the afternoon there. And with this, I would request Mr. Jayanto Chakraborty, if you could please take the session forward.
Yeah.
Do you have...
Thank you.
I think Mr. Ayanav Devgupta, he is online. We would like to see the speakers online. Yeah, he is online.
Hello.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everybody. I think welcome to my panel colleagues here, the eminent speakers from different sectors of the business. And the topic of this today's is opportunities for business growth and case studies. You see, in the first half, we have heard a lot of deliberations on the potentials, opportunities on a broad-based terms. But these sessions, we are interested to go for the specific domain of the business actually. And you are the proven leaders in this particular your profession, that how you foresee the opportunities of your sector in the perspective of North Bengal also. We have seen that in North Bengal, we are familiar with the tea, we are familiar with the tourism, food items, and of course, and to run this business, we need credit support from the institutions also. And along with that, APEDA, the Agriculture and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority, are the key agency for developing that ecosystem also. So basically, we are here, the audience is here to know from you personally the opportunities in your sector, and if you have any good case studies for their knowledge and for the application of those things in their respective domain also. So I will request my esteemed speakers in this group discussions, in this discussion, to have to restrict their or deliberations within 10 minutes so that we can maintain the time limit accordingly. So I first request Mr. Ayanav Devgupta, co-founder and joint managing director, Medica Hospitals, for his presentations of his.
Just 1 minute. The guests at the venue were requested to please take your seats because, it's Zoom, it creates a lot of, ambience, sound and noise. So,
yeah.
Mr. Devgupta, please.
Yes, Mr. Devgupta.
Thank you, Omna. Thank you, sir, for your kind invitation. I had a small PPT I've shared with Suchishmita, I think. If you could share that, I think that would be nice to. I just wanted to set the context with a few slides.
Yeah, we are sharing Shutish, you have been able to download the second slide you have sent. We are sharing the screen. Just give us 2 minutes.
No, take your time. That's absolutely fine. In the meanwhile, what's important is...
And for the speakers, would it be convenient that if we mute the venue sound, would that be convenient to you?
Yeah, I think that would be nice.
I think that will be okay.
Okay, thank you. So, the input at the venue, please make that mute. Of course, sharing Mr. Devgupta's presentation. হ্যাঁ, মেক ইট ইন স্লাইড আর ভেন্যুর অডিওটাকে একটু মিউট করে দেবেন প্লিজ।
This is nice. Yeah, sure. So, if you could help me with the slides, the second slide, please. This is just set a context. I mean, we all heard Dr. Roy said, gave us a broad perspective and his vision for healthcare in North Bengal, and coming from him with over 50 years of experience in this sector, I think he's really set the context of what can be done, what is the opportunity, and how it can be really leveraged in our part of the North Bengal, what we can do. But this is just to fix the context of where are we vis-a-vis the entire world in terms of in healthcare, you know. And you would see we have 1.4 beds per 1,000 population compared to rest of the world. We still have a long way to catch up. And let's just move on. So 1.4 is the number. We have the other extreme of Japan or Germany with 8 or 13 beds per 1,000 population. World average, you would like to know, is about close to 3 beds per population, per 1,000 population. Next slide, please. So when we come down to North Bengal, just to give you an overall fact, we have 24% of the population of the state. We have 16% of the hospitals are available here. We have about 14% of the beds among these hospitals in the state. 15% of the medical colleges. We have about, I think we have 4 medical colleges in this part of the country, and about 13% of the medical college seats. When you break it up into tertiary care and secondary care, we still have only about 12% of the total tertiary care beds and about 6% of secondary care beds in this part, while the population is still 24%. So the idea being to see the disparity, I mean, we should have had in excess of 30% of all the others with a population of 24%, but that is not the case, and therefore tells you where we are vis-a-vis where we should have been. Next slide, please. This is further down. I mean, this is in comparison to other states. I think we can skip this slide. I'll go to more specific. Let's go forward. So this is in context of, if we saw the world average being about 3 beds per 1,000 population. Now, World Health Organization says we should have 3.5 beds per 1,000 population. For a moment, I mean, we are far away, but for a moment, if we presume, if we needed to have 3.5 beds per 1,000 population, we would require in North Bengal about 80,000 beds. Now, that's a huge number. What do we have available today? Could you go back to that slide, please, once? We have about 17,000 slides available, 17,000 beds available to us. So the gap looks like a whopping 63,000 beds if we were to follow the WHO norms of what it should be. Now, even if we were to go by the India average, India has close to about 1 bed per 1,000 population, you know, and even if we go by that, which is 1/3 of this number, we still need about, the gap would still be another 20,000 beds, which means if we have 17,000 beds available today, we will need to add another 17 to 20,000 beds more, which means we need to double our capacity even to reach the standards or the benchmark that our country as a whole has. So we have only 0.75 beds per 1,000 population today in North Bengal. Next slide, please. This is a further breakup of where exactly the gap is. I mean, if you want to deep dive, you need to know where is the gap, where is the population, where is the healthcare facility available, and where is the gap. Now, when you look at it, you realize that it is spread all across. District by district, we need to really address the entire thing, but then we cannot overall look at it. So we need to look at which are the drainage areas, which are the natural referral points of this area. So the next slide will give us a perspective. So this is just to summarize on how each of these districts in our geography has the gap and what many more beds are required here. Next slide, please. Now, if you look at what is the distribution between what we have in public and private. So 64% of everything that we see here is in terms of government beds, and about 36% is private sector. And when you look at it district-wise, other than Darjeeling district, everywhere else, it is the government beds which is significantly present and serving. But then there's a huge scope for private sector to come into all of these places, because we just saw the gap in all of these districts is significant. And that's exactly where the opportunity comes in. So we could actually come in from the private sector in terms of investment, in terms of adding more hospitals, because we see there is a significant amount of deficit that is there. Next slide, please. And also, if you look at where do people come from? I mean, we have a population of about 2.5 crores, I mean, added together among the districts by the norms, 2.5 to 3 crores population now. But what's disappointing to see, because of this lack of beds that we have in this region, almost 40% of the patients have to travel beyond North Bengal to Calcutta and everywhere else to seek healthcare. Now that's extremely sad. And is there a way to address it? Definitely. And we are seeing a lot of movement. We're seeing a lot of movement not only from various private sector players. We're seeing a lot of augmentation of in the government sector as well. We also see that a lot of patients come here from various others. I mean, from Sikkim, from Bhutan, from Nepal. Even Bangladesh has about 8 to 10% of patients in Jalpaiguri. But then, after they come in here, we probably are not able to hold on to them in this. They have to travel out to seek healthcare. Now, if we can even get to a zero-sum game, if we can add another 10,000 beds in the next 5 years, we think this migrating population who go out for seeking treatment can be brought down to at least, from 40%, I think it should be, we can bring it down to about 20% or 10%. That itself will be a significant improvement on where we are, And from that point of view, it's also important to look at what is the scene around medical education. This region provides or generates about 500 doctors every year through the 4 medical colleges. Now that's also not actually adequate. And all the 5 or 4 medical colleges that are here are again from the government sector. They are government medical colleges. We don't see any private medical college in this part of the country. Now that is again a huge opportunity. When you look at the whole country today, we have close to 250 odd medical colleges which are with the private sector and another 250 odd with the government. So when you look at a distribution, it's almost 50-50 in terms of medical colleges across the country. But when you look at Bengal, and specifically North Bengal, this is very, very minuscule. North Bengal, we don't have even a single private sector player coming in. So that's another area which I think we should really look at. So this is the background. I just wanted to lay out to you where we are and what can be done in this context. Now, the question is, how do we do it? What do we do? We know what needs to be done. Now, setting up a healthcare facility is a very difficult proposition because of the nature of the business or nature of the industry that we are in. So, from that point of view, what's very important is we actually get to, in a model, the gestation periods are very, very long in healthcare. So, it's very important that we explore modalities where there could be some kind of a partnership where it benefits both the government as well as the population which is trying to cater to. Can there be subsidies in terms of capital subsidies that we are seeing in many of the other states in the country? Odisha, for example, has come up with a very wonderful plan where they are actually giving out capital subsidy and viability gap funding for operational subsidy for 5 years for hospitals being set up in the state. And this is under a PPP program, which is guided by the World Bank. And similar models are being developed across. I think that will be very interesting to see if we could also develop similar models in North Bengal, because it also caters to a very different, the nature of the land is different, you have, the terrain is different. So the norms for setting up hospitals also could be liberalized more. I mean, the minimum requirement for setting up a medical college is about 20 acres and it costs about 200 crores to set up a medical college. But if we can bring down the infrastructure norms without compromising the quality, I think there'll be a lot of takers who are willing to invest in this space and will come on board to be a part of the journey to establish healthcare facilities in north of India, North Bengal per se. So can we really look at it from that point of view? Yes, there's a huge opportunity. We would want to reach out to the government to help us subsidize more of our specialties. We could look for banks to finance them better. And we could also look at a lot of opportunity in terms of setting up. There is a definite gap in terms of what is available. So I think all in all, we have medical tourism that can get going here. We have patients coming from everywhere. We see a bright opportunity. And Medica, from our point of view, we definitely want to invest further. We are investing, as Dr. Roy mentioned in the morning, over 100 crores in setting up a new super specialty hospital. Our hospital here has been catering to the city for more than 45, 50 years now. Our new oncology hospital, again, is the only hospital between Calcutta and North Bengal. There is nothing else in between in terms of cancer of this specialty. So we are committed to be a part of the growth in this part of the country and the state. And thank you, Bengal Chamber of Commerce. And we should deliberate further how to make it happen on some of the ideas that I've shared here. Thank you very much. I think I have finished within time, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Devgupta. It's a wonderful presentation. It's an eye-opener for the participants, actually. And particularly the hospital bed available per population base is really a concern, and the doctor is also. I have few queries on that thing. That a large chunk of people in North Bengal state are engaged with the tea gardens. And
right.
So about their treatment, is there any special focus is there, or because they are pretty dependent on the government infrastructures also? How they can expect a better treatment from the private institutes because of their modern facilities and all those things? These are one of the things which we face whenever we visit to the garden or visit to the local people also. So if you can highlight on that also, that how you are planning for those sectors also.
Very, very good point, sir. And one of the things which always has been in our mind is how do you work around these things? So India per se has a similar problem, and our problem is that of population. So tea gardens face a similar issue with a large number of people, but then the same problem becomes an advantage also if we can use their economies of scale. When you look at a health insurance model, less than 2% of the people actually seek healthcare in a large cohort of people. So if we can think of a similar model for public, it's a health financing mechanism between all the tea gardens. If you add up the population, one, we could look at an innovative insurance model like Dr. Roy had been instrumental around setting up the Yashaswini health insurance model in Karnataka. This is way back, and this was around agricultural laborers, where a cooperative of about 15 lakh people came together, and they were availing health insurance across 200 hospitals, across 2,000 different kinds of surgeries at less than 5 rupees per month kind of a premium. And okay, it was some time back, but then similar models could be explored, and we could create a safety net around all the people, and we will be very happy to be a part of something like this, which could actually cater to all of them. And primary healthcare anyway is something which needs to be focused on. So we need to figure out a way to deliver healthcare at the tea gardens, at the basic level. And so if we can preventive care can be improved, a lot of the curative care requirement goes down subsequently. So if we can focus on preventive healthcare from time to time, we'll be very happy to be part of any of your initiatives around this.
Thank you. And I think your involvement and initiatives in the setting of the super specialty in Siliguri is really a milestone for the North Bengal perspective also. And we hope that others should follow in that path also, so that people of the North Bengal should get the basic support from medical point of view also. So I think
we really hope next 5 years there should be nobody having to travel out of Siliguri and North Bengal for healthcare. That's our agenda.
Oh, great. And we wish you all good luck and our moral support with you also. So great support, and really appreciate your involvement in this journey also. Thank you, Mr. Devgupta, for your excellent presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I move forward. Now there is a different subject, Miss Ekta Jaju, founder and CEO of Organic Foods. I think it's a very, very innovative subject, and we like to hear from you on the details so that the people present here on the line and off the line also, they can enrich their knowledge and can further explore the opportunities in that segment also. So over to you, Ms. Jaju.
Thank you, Mr. Chakraborty, for inviting me for this session. To start with, I'll briefly share about what we do so that we can add a little perspective on where we are coming from. So Organic is a social enterprise, and we work with smallholder farmers in Nadia district of West Bengal, and we've shifted them to organic cultivation, brought them under certification, and now exporting their produce to Europe, mainly Germany and UK, and now hoping to expand that to the US. So, and we primarily deal with specialty rice. So, in the last couple of years, we've now looked at seeing, that we've sort of been able to create markets for these smallholder farmers. How can we support other organic groups in east and northeast part of the country to, find markets through either certification or whatever else? And in this context, I would like to share a little bit about what I feel are the opportunities in North Bengal. So especially when we look at organic farming or agriculture space in exports, of course, I think North Bengal has done incredibly well with their tea and tea exports. So that is a space I think North Bengal has captured. But what else is possible? And here I would bring in the example of Northeast, where I think they've been able to play to their strength very well. They've been able to identify what their strengths were and what are the opportunities in the export market, and they've been able to, they're working towards bridging that gap. So I think all of North Bengal and Northeast part of the country, they share very similar agroclimatic zones, and so very similar product range. So things that are strengths of Northeast, especially spices, are also strengths of North Bengal. So there is a very high opportunity in the spice space, and the different spices like ginger, turmeric, cardamom, etc. that pepper that North Bengal and Northeast grows. And another very interesting thing that Northeast has done is, because a lot of this area is default organic, or sometimes even if it's not, the government has supported a lot of work in the organic farming space, conversion space, certification space, and export promotion space for a lot of the smallholder farmers in the Northeast. And similar efforts can be made, especially in North Bengal, and there could be immense untapped opportunities that we could find in this region. So on one side is, of course, finding these crops which already exist, these winnow crops which are strengths of North Bengal, and then seeing how we can make them export ready through certification. And the other level would be, how do we process it in a way that the industry can utilize it. So simple primary support with simple primary processing for drying, for slicing, for things like that, which can make it more easy for the industry to take these products and do further value addition. I think these are these are three things. So one is, of course, identifying the products and supporting the farmers to grow it. Second would be identifying export opportunities and doing what requires. So if it means organic certification or GAP certification or anything else, then helping farmers get to that level. And third would be some level of value addition, primary processing. These are three areas that I would say that if the government would be willing to look at and invest in North Bengal, there is an immense ideal potential that's there in North Bengal which can be tapped into.
I think it's a great journey from your institution. I think you are now working in the Nadia district, I believe, as you have told.
Yes, we started over there, and now we're working across Northeast.
So I think because small holding farmers are now in the focus of the even UNO and World Food Organization also. And a lot of international bodies are working on the small farming, holding all those things. So how do you find in this transformation? What are the stories behind it? Are you finding those who are involved with you are really making it more vibrant, and they are participating wholeheartedly to make it a big journey? From their perspective, their earning status, are they earning quite more than the normal traditional farming, or their connectivity with the market has improved also? So I think this success story will inspire the others also. I think if we can highlight some on those factors also.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a couple of things that I would like to share. Usually a company is set up and then they, reach out and say, tell farmers that you turn organic and, we will do this. But it was the other way around. So I was working with a foundation, Switch On Foundation, where we started to, train them in organic farming. And this area where we work was an intensive chemical belt. So these farmers understood the challenges of using chemicals. And so when they understood about organic farming, they actually for a year experimented. Does organic farming really work? Because, farmers don't have a know-how, right? So for a year, they grew the same crop organically, inorganically. And at the end of the year, they were convinced that, organic farming is possible with the crops that we grow, and we want to switch. And so that's when they approached us saying that, can you, we don't have any markets. Like I've grown the same crop organically, conventionally. Nobody wants to buy the organic crop as organic. Like we can sell it in the conventional market, but nobody is willing to buy it as organic. And nobody is willing to give us a premium. Like, there is a premium that an organic crop must demand, which we are not able to get. So they said we are fully convinced that we want to grow organic, but if you can make sure that there is a market where, there's someone we can sell our crop to and we are able to make the rightful price that an organic crop demands, we will all switch. So we actually set up our company so that we could do where there was a gap. So I strongly feel that lack of market access is.
ঈশ্বর আমাদের এই প্রকৃতির রূপে সমস্ত সম্বর করে আমাদের সাজিয়ে দিয়েছে। এখানে একজন টুরিস্ট তার লেজার, তার বিজনেস ট্রাভেল, তার এন্টারটেনমেন্ট, তার যত ধরনের রিকোয়ারমেন্ট থাকতে পারে একটা ট্রাভেল অ্যান্ড ট্যুরের জন্য, তার সমস্ত কিছু ঈশ্বর আমাদেরকে ভরপুর করে দিয়েছে। ফুটহিলস, ডুয়ার্স, তিস্তা রিভার, lush green tea garden, dense forest, rare wildlife, a rich culture, community, all together, it's a huge and enormous potentiality. আমার মনে হয় আমরা হয়তো তার অল্প কিছুটাই এখনো ইউজ করতে পেরেছি। এই ট্যুরিজম, এই প্রচুর সম্ভাব্য যে রিসোর্স আমাদের প্রাকৃতিক সম্পদকে বেস করে, এবং এর গুরুত্ব, এটা যদি আমরা ইউজ করতে পারি পুরোপুরি, ট্যুরিজম এই অঞ্চলের ইকোনমিক স্ট্রাকচার মেনটেন করার জন্য একটা সবথেকে গুরুত্বপূর্ণ রোল প্লে করে, এবং এটা লম্বা সময় ধরে থাকবে, এবং এখানকার যে ইয়াং জেনারেশন তাদেরকে এমপ্লয়মেন্ট দেওয়ার জন্য, এবং আগামীতে দেশের রেভিনিউ থেকে শুরু করে লাইফস্টাইলকে ডেভেলপমেন্ট করার ক্ষেত্রে অনেক বড় রোল এই ট্যুরিজম প্লে করবে। আমি এখানে আমরা লাস্ট 10 বছরে ট্রাভেলার্সদের মাইন্ডসেট, তাদের ট্রাভেল করার উদ্দেশ্য এবং না সাইজ অফ ট্রাভেল enormously increased we have observed last decade. আগে টুরিস্ট ট্রাভেল করতো সেই পার্টিকুলার জায়গা থেকে বিভিন্ন সাইটসিনসগুলো ঘোরার জন্য, কিন্তু এখন মেজরিটি টুরিস্ট ট্রাভেল করে তাদের হ্যাসেল ভ্যাসেল একটা ব্যস্ত জীবন থেকে বেরিয়ে এসে কাম কুল প্রকৃতির কোলে বসে 2 দিন সময় কাটাবে। তারা ওই পার্টিকুলার লেজার ডেস্টিনেশনে কিছু অ্যাক্টিভিটিস করবে, বা সেখানে তাদের কোয়ালিটি টাইম তাদের খুব নিয়ার অ্যান্ড ডিয়ারদের সঙ্গে স্পেন্ড করবে। এর ফলে লেজার ট্যুরিজমের স্কোপ এখানে অফুরন্ত। ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার, গভর্নমেন্ট, সেন্ট্রাল আর স্টেট বোথ enormously trying to do best possible, creating roads, breeze and all others. In the same time, আমাদের মতো অর্গানাইজেশন এই অঞ্চলের বিভিন্ন ইয়াং যারা কলেজ সবেমাত্র কমপ্লিট করেছে বা যারা ব্যাকওয়ার্ড আছে তাদেরকে নিয়ে এসে আমরা বিভিন্ন সময় এথোয়া ইস্টার্ন হিমালয়ান ট্যুর অপারেটর অ্যাসোসিয়েশন বিভিন্ন গভর্নিং বডি বিভিন্ন সোশ্যাল অর্গানাইজেশনের সঙ্গে মিলে বিভিন্ন রকম প্ল্যাটফর্ম ক্রিয়েট করার চেষ্টা করছে। তার মধ্যে আমার পূর্ববর্তী বক্তা আমাদের খুব ইয়াং এন্টারপ্রেনার সো ইন্সপায়ারিং, উনি বলল যে অপরচুনিটি ইজ দেয়ার, অনলি নিড আ প্রপার ডাইরেকশন হাউ টু কানেক্ট উইথ দ্য পিপল, পোটেনশিয়াল মার্কেটিং টুলস দরকার আছে এবং তাদেরকে মোটিভেট করার দরকার আছে। তারা মোস্ট অফ দ্য টাইম সোশ্যাল মিডিয়াতে তো স্পেন্ড করছে, বাট হাউ টু গ্র্যাব দ্য অপরচুনিটি ইউজিং দ্য সোশ্যাল মিডিয়া প্ল্যাটফর্ম দে ডাজ নট নো। So it is our responsibility to guide them, to support them and to enhance their business best possible way utilizing all the media. তো এখানে এই ধরনের অপরচুনিটি তো প্রচণ্ড আছে। আমি বলবো আগামী দিনে আমরা এটাও দেখে এসেছি যে কর্পোরেট ট্যুরিজম, আগে আমরা নর্থ বেঙ্গলের ট্যুরিজম মানেই কিন্তু একটা মোস্টলি ধরা যেত যে কলকাতা বেস, সাউথ বেঙ্গলে কিছু ট্যুরিস্ট নর্থ বেঙ্গলে ঘুরতে আসবে, ডুয়ার্স কভার করবে। আমরা লাস্ট ডেকেড এটা ট্রিমেন্ডাসলি অবজার্ভ করেছি। এই নর্থ বেঙ্গলের বিভিন্ন শহর, শিলিগুড়ি, রায়গঞ্জ, মালদা থেকে শুরু করে আরও যে বিভিন্ন শহরগুলো আছে, সেই সমস্ত শহর থেকেও a maximum number of travelers are coming out to explore the destination. এটা আমাদের জন্য একটা বিশেষ বড় সুযোগ যে তারাও এই নর্থ বেঙ্গল থেকে এই সমস্ত অঞ্চলগুলোই করছে। এটা সেই পার্টিকুলার ওই রিজিয়নে থাকা ছোট ছোট হোমস্টে থেকে শুরু করে যে কোনো অঞ্চলে ট্যুরিজম এবং ট্যুরিজমের সঙ্গে যুক্ত থাকা ইকোনমিক ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার তাদের লাইফস্টাইল, তাদের লিভলিহুডে অনেক বড় একটা মাত্রা দিবে আগামী দিনে। এর পাশাপাশি কর্পোরেট ট্যুরিজম ডে বাই ডে ইনক্রিজিং র্যাপিডলি। কর্পোরেট ট্যুরিজম স্পেন্ডিং 1 night 2 nights, there are enormous potentiality. তারা কোনো সাইটসিং করতে চায় না, তারা মোস্ট অফ দ্য টাইম দে গো টু স্পেন্ড অ্যান্ড হ্যাভ মিটিংস অ্যান্ড ইন্টারেক্ট উইথ দ্য লোকাল পিপল টু আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড লোকাল কালচার, লোকাল কিছুর জন্য। তো এটা অপরচুনিটি আছে। আমরা জানি যে উইডিং ডেস্টিনেশন কামিং ইজ দ্য বিগেস্ট মার্কেট। উইডিং ডেস্টিনেশনসকে যদি প্রপার ট্র্যাক করা যায়, আমার মনে হয় নর্থ বেঙ্গলের যে টুরিস্ট ডেস্টিনেশনসগুলো আছে, স্পেশালি ডুয়ার্স, কালিম্পং, আমাদের এই যে এর থেকে ভালো ডেস্টিনেশন একদমই হতে পারে না। যখন এই সমস্ত ফুলফিল করার জন্য যা যা রিসোর্সেস দরকার আছে, এভরিথিং ইজ দেয়ার, only need a proper presentation with proper marketing skill, with the proper track, এটা দরকার আছে। আমরা রিসেন্টলি আমি ক্রান্তি, লাটাগুড়ি এগুলো এর মধ্যেই 7-8 দিন আগে ঘুরে এসেছি। আই ওয়াজ কোয়াইট সারপ্রাইজ অ্যান্ড হ্যাপি টু সি দ্যাট হাউ দ্য রোড ইজ। আগে যা ছিল এখন এটা এনোমাসলি ডেভেলপ করছে। দ্যাট মিনস এভরি গভর্নমেন্ট আর ট্রাইং দেয়ার বেস্ট। নাও ইটস টাইম অফ আওয়ার্স to participate for the development of tourism, the major and master pillar of our region. Thank you very much. I hope any questions?
I think we can take the questions after the presentation is over, then we can have a couple of questions from the audience. Am I audible?
Yes.
আমার মনে হয় আপনি আপনার বক্তব্য রাখার পর তারপরে আমরা কিছু কোশ্চেন নেব অডিয়েন্স থেকে, 2-3টে কোশ্চেন নেব, নিয়ে আমরা অনুষ্ঠানটাকে শেষ করব।
শিওর। আমরা এথুয়া আমরা রিসেন্টলি IIS এর সঙ্গে একটা জয়েন্টলি আমরা একটা ট্রাভেল ট্যুরিজম কোর্সও নিয়ে এসেছি, যেটা এই অঞ্চলে ডুয়ার্স, পাহাড়, সমতল, বিভিন্ন পিছিয়ে পড়া মানুষ, বিভিন্ন ছাত্রদের তাদেরকে কিভাবে হাউ টু স্কিল ডেভেলপমেন্টের জন্য কী করে আরও বেটারমেন্ট করা যায়, যারা পরবর্তীতে ট্যুরিজমের সঙ্গে পার্টিসিপেট করবে এবং তারা তাদের কেরিয়ারকে আরও ভালোভাবেই করতে পারবে। আমরা IIS এর সঙ্গে কোলাবোরেট করে খুব সুন এটা লঞ্চ করছি। এবং আমার মনে হয় কিছু কিছু জিনিস সত্যি আমি অ্যাজ এ ইনপুট রাখবো, যেটা খুব দরকার। আমার আগের বক্তা বলেছিল, এটা সত্যি তাই, যে এই অঞ্চলে যদি হোমস্টে আগামী দিনে একটা বড় ফিউচার, বড় প্রসপেক্ট, কেন কোনায় কোনায় এখানে অপরচুনিটি আছে। আমি যদি বলি যে ডুয়ার্সের কোনো একটা নদীর পাড়ে একটা সুন্দর একটা কটেজ হয় বা একটা হোমস্টে হয়, যেমন অপরচুনিটি আছে একটা ফরেস্টের পাশে বা একটা টি গার্ডেনের মাঝেও কিন্তু একটা সুন্দর টি ট্যুরিজম সেন্টার হতে পারে, যেখানে একটা ভালো, যেখানে কি লোক টি ট্যুরিজম এখানকার এই জিনিসগুলোকে আরও বেটার আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড করবে। ইন্টারনেট প্লেস এ ভাইটাল রোল। এই হোমস্টেগুলো আমরা কিছুদিন আগে একটা মিটিংয়ে আমরা কথা বলছিলাম, বলছে আমাদের সবথেকে মেজর সমস্যা হচ্ছে যে আমরা কানেক্ট করতে পারি না, কেন আমাদের এখানে ইন্টারনেটের একটা বড় সমস্যা। যে এই কোর অঞ্চলগুলিতে যদি ইন্টারনেট পরিষেবা যদি ভালো করে আরেকটু স্ট্রং করা যায়, তো এই সবারই তাদেরকে অ্যাক্সেস করতে এবং তাদের সঙ্গে আরও মেজর প্ল্যাটফর্মের সঙ্গে জুড়তে অনেকটা হেল্প করবে। সেকেন্ড হচ্ছে এখানকার মুড অফ ট্রান্সপোর্টেশন। রোড তো ঠিকই আছে, এখন অনেকটা আরও দিন দিন ভালো হচ্ছে, কিন্তু ফ্লাইটস, আমি আজকেই দেখছিলাম আমাদের কিছু ক্লায়েন্টস বলছিল গ্রুপ, তারা বলছে যে স্যার আমরা গত মাসে দেখেছিলাম যে আপ অ্যান্ড ডাউন এটা 8,000 টাকা ছিল, আজকে হঠাৎ করে এপ্রিলের ফার্স্ট উইকে 13,000। দ্যাট মিনস ডিমান্ড ইন ক্রাইসিস। এখানে আরও বেশি সংখ্যক ফ্লাইট আমাদের বাগডোগরা এয়ারপোর্টে অপারেট করতে হবে, কেন আমাদের যা ট্যুরিস্টের যা এখানে ডিমান্ড থাকে অ্যারাইভেলের, তার অনেকটাই সেটা ফুলফিল করতে পারে না বিকজ অফ এই ফ্লাইট এবং ট্রেনের ক্রাইসিস, টিকেটের ক্রাইসিসের জন্য। প্লিজ। Yeah, I have finished. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask me, please.
I think, thank you, Mr. Chakraborty, for a very, very detailed presentations. Thank you from Bengal Chamber of Commerce for your deliberations. And it is true that there is an opportunity everywhere is there. So now, Sujishmita, you can take it forward. If some 2 or 3 questions, you can take it on.
Okay, sir. So I would request participants, anybody interested to ask some questions for the speakers in online and for physical, you may raise your hand. Okay, I would request from AV to take the mic. You may please introduce yourself and you may ask the question to the speaker you want to.
Hello, নমস্কার, আমি কুচবিহার থেকে এসেছি। আমার নাম দিলীপ বণিক। আমি কুচবিহার ডিস্ট্রিক্ট ইন্ডাস্ট্রিয়ালিস্ট ওয়েলফেয়ার অ্যাসোসিয়েশনের পক্ষ থেকে 3 জনকে নিয়ে আসছি। 5 জন আসার কথা, 2 জন আসেনি। মেন কথা হচ্ছে আমাদের কুচবিহারে শিল্পের জন্য অনেক ভালো সুযোগ সুবিধা আছে। আমরা ক্যাপ্টেনশিপ করে আমি 4 বছর থেকে পুরো জেলাকে রিজন ঘোষণা করতে পেরেছি আমাদের অমিত মিত্র স্যারের থেকে। সেখানে আমি চাই আমাদের কুচবিহারের লোকাল এন্টারপ্রেনাররা অনেক আছে, ছোট ছোট সুযোগ সুবিধা অনেক আছে। আমি চাই আমাদের কুচবিহারে বাইরে থেকে যারা আমাদের নর্থ বেঙ্গল ডিস্ট্রিক্ট থেকে যারা ওখানে উদ্যোগ নিয়ে কাজ করতে চায় বা ওখানে ইন্ডাস্ট্রি করতে চায়, তাকে আমরা আমাদের পক্ষ থেকে আবার জেলা প্রশাসনের পক্ষ থেকে সহযোগিতা করব। তারা ওখানে এগিয়ে আসুক, কুচবিহারের শিল্প সমৃদ্ধি করুক। কারণ কুচবিহারকে শিল্প না করলে কুচবিহারকে ডেভেলপ করা যাবে না। কুচবিহারকে কেন্দ্র করে নর্থ ইস্ট মার্কেটে বিরাট মার্কেট আছে, স্কোপ আছে। এবং নর্থ ইস্ট ছাড়াও ওখানে কৃষি জাতীয় অনেক কিছু ফসল হয়, বিশেষ করে আলু, ভুট্টা, তামাক এবং এখন এইসব ফসলের উপর অনেক কিছু কাজ হচ্ছে। তাই আপনাকে অনুরোধ করব আপনাদের পক্ষ থেকে ওখানে ইনভেস্টার কিছু পাঠান। আমরা আমাদের পক্ষ থেকে, আমার পক্ষ থেকে সহযোগিতা করার জন্য সব রকম চেষ্টা করব। ইনভেস্টাররা লাগবে। নমস্কার, আমি দিলীপ বণিক বলছি।
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have noted your point. We will try to convey the message to the department maybe and to the stakeholders. Anybody else who would like to ask any question, or yeah, somebody else's hand. You may please introduce yourself and name the speaker to whom you want to ask.
আমার নাম দিব্যেন্দু পাল। আমি মেনলি ট্যুরিজমের জন্য কিছু কোশ্চেন করতে চাইছি। আমি বিলং করি উত্তর দিনাজপুর ডিস্ট্রিক্ট, আমার মেন হোম টাউন রায়গঞ্জ। আপনাদের জানা থাকবে যে সেখানে কুলিক ফরেস্ট আছে, সেটা হচ্ছে বার্ডের জন্য বিখ্যাত এবং আমাদের মনে হয় এশিয়ার মধ্যে সেকেন্ড বা ইন্ডিয়াতেও একটা সেকেন্ড জায়গা রেখেছে। তো সেখানে কোনো ট্যুরিজমের কিছু সেভাবে কোনো পরিকল্পনা হয়নি আজ অবধি, এবং উত্তর দিনাজপুর ডিস্ট্রিক্ট খুব পিছিয়ে পড়ার ডিস্ট্রিক্ট এন্টার ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গলের মধ্যে, এবং নর্থ বেঙ্গলের মধ্যেও কানেক্টিভিটি খুবই খারাপ। ওখানকার যে রায়গঞ্জ শহরের যে রেল কানেক্টিভিটি খুবই খারাপ, তাও এখন বর্তমানে রোড হচ্ছে। তো এখন যেহেতু ন্যাশনাল হাইওয়েটা খুব ভালো হচ্ছে, তো ওখানে ট্যুরিজম নিয়ে কিছু করা যেতে পারে, এবং মেডিকেল দিক থেকেও খুব পিছিয়ে আছে। তো সেখানটার থেকে কিন্তু আমার মনে হয় মেডিকেলের একটা হিউজ জায়গা আছে, যেহেতু রায়গঞ্জের সঙ্গে মালদা, দক্ষিণ দিনাজপুরে বালুরঘাট, প্লাস ওদিক দিয়ে কিছু রাস্তাও যদি বের করা যায় বাংলাদেশের সাথে, তাহলে সেখানে ট্যুরিজম এবং মেডিকেল ট্যুরিজম দুটোই করা যেতে পারে, এবং সেখানে প্রচুর ল্যান্ড অ্যাভেলেবেল আছে। তো আমার এটাই বক্তব্য, যদি আপনাদের থেকে কেউ কিছু করতে চান সেটা অবশ্যই খুব ভালো হবে। থ্যাংক ইউ।
থ্যাংক ইউ। মানে আপনার বক্তব্য বিশেষভাবে প্রশংসনীয়, এবং আপনার যেটা সাজেশন আছে সেটা আমরা যথার্থ জায়গায়, যারা নাকি ইনভেস্টর মিট যখন হয় বা যারা ইন্টারেস্টেড আছেন তাদের কাছে নিশ্চয়ই পৌঁছে দেবো আমরা। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Thank you.
Almost
So it's almost time, so we can close, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to thank Mr. Joyanto Chakraborty to moderate the session and to join us online to give his precious time. And I also wanted to thank all the speakers online and both physically present here. And special thanks to the participants who have been joining us since in the morning. And I want to thank our sponsors, without whom this program would not be possible. Medica Group of Hospital, especially Medica North Bengal Clinic, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, Techno India Group and Siliguri Institute of Technology, Tata Steel Downstream Products Limited, Andrew Yule and Company Limited, Indophil Industries Limited. Thank you all. So there is another session here in the evening at Techno, which I would request all to join. We have a transport here. We can avail the bus to reach to the institute. The session starts at 4 p.m. and it will be a 1-hour session. I would request all the participants and the speaker to join us for lunch. Thank you all. Look forward to have you again with us in the next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Oh, and sorry, I forgot to facilitate Mr. Pronosh Chakraborty. I would request my daughter Sanvi to present a memento to him. Come, Sanvi. Huh? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, sir. The program is supported both by Techno India and Siliguri Institute of Technology.
But the venue is Siliguri Institute
No,
of Technology.
I said the venue.
People will be confused. Okay.
Thank you. Please join us for the lunch.